Alright, so no joke. I'm maybe 10 seconds away from clicking start stream at the time I'm supposed to, which is 7:10 or 7 o'clock. Lo and behold, as soon as I'm about to click it, my grandmother from the bottom of the stairs, her voice just perks up and she goes, Ryan, can you get the hummingbird feeder down so we could put more sugar water in it for the hummingbirds? You could not... Like, I love my grandma. Love her to death. Holy shit, she has impeccable timing. But yes, nonetheless, hi, I'm here. We're doing the dang stream. We're doing the stream where we play the video game. Originally this was supposed to be Death Road to Canada, according to my schedule, but I couldn't figure out, or, no, I couldn't figure it out. Jubear 80K just redeemed for me to play a visual novel called Our Life, Beginning and Always. So, that's what we're doing now. I know jack about this game, other than the fact that it's a dating visual novel, like a romance visual novel kind of thing. So I don't know how much of this is going to be done. I don't know if this is a 1 stream thing, if this is a, 5 stream thing. I don't know how much content this game has. But apparently it has, 8 different add-ons and DLCs and all that kind of thing that JB sent me. So I'm guessing we're gonna play more of this game? I haven't really played a lot of visual novels. I don't know what the visual novels are about. So yeah, let's flip on over to the thing. Ignore that. I was just futzing with the audio settings because it sounded a bit loud when I was doing it before. I guess we can get in a Discord call. I'm gonna be talking a lot. You want to call? I'll be talking. It would probably help if I tagged. Yep. Alrighty. Dang, we really are just out here playing a visual novel. I have no idea what to expect. Also, it says continue. I literally just booted up this game to figure out the settings. Okay, I guess new file? I'm not sure what to expect from this. Welcome to Our Life, Beginnings and Always. There are various ways you can customize and interact with the game. This tutorial is an overview of how certain features work. I should probably, since I'm going to be playing a visual novel, I guess it would help if y'all could see my cursor. To start off, the game is divided into 4 time periods called steps. Step 1 is childhood, Step 2 is adolescence, Step 3 is young adulthood, and Step 4 is adulthood. Our life is further divided into sets of vignettes that take place during specific periods of time. They're called moments. Moments can be played in any order or skipped entirely. You can move on to the next step whenever you want by selecting that summer is ending. Steps 1 through 3 include 5 moments each, and even more can be unlocked by purchasing DLCs. Some are out now and other DLCs will be released later. As far as I know, I've been given every DLC for this game, so I don't know how long this is going to take for everything. Step 4 is an epilogue and doesn't include moments. A lot happens over the years that go by, especially in regards to the character you play as. You determine nearly everything about the main character: name, appearance, personality, pronouns, interests, skills, their relationship with major characters, and so on. You can decide to change the details as time goes on, with a few exceptions. Your last name, skin tone, and eye color can't be altered once set. Much of the MC's Much of the MC's basic traits are determined on a character creation screen. As the MC grows up, more options become available on the screen. As mentioned, one of the decisions you'll get to make for your character is selecting a name. You can type in any name you like, or you can pick a preset name. Preset options are called voiced names because the name will be voiced aloud by the romantic lead. You'll get to hear them say your name as you play through the story. Nice. Only the default name Jamie is included in the base game. Hundreds more can be added by getting a free voiced name expansion DLC, which I was given, yes. The full collection of names is separated out as a DLC because of how large it is. If you're interested in that feature, you don't need to get it. Or if you're not interested in that feature, you don't need it. Each name in the DLC belongs to or was selected by someone who supported this project. On the character creation screen, there's a cute doll you can decorate to get an idea of what your MC looks like with the different traits put together. Not all of the things you decide about the MC appear on the doll. The script referencing what you've decided for the MC is the main way those decisions influence the game. Our Life has a first-person perspective, so your character doesn't appear next to other character sprites. You can only see the MC as the decorative doll and in special cut-in CG images. The cut-in CGs only appear if certain choices are made. It's not possible to see any during a playthrough. There's also a second type of special MC-based screen, the interest/comfort screen. Unless you get DLC, the game has one love interest, Cove Holden. What a fucking romance novel name. Cove Holden. He grows up with the MC, and the interest/comfort screen is crucial for determining how that plays out. Interest level sets how much you like him. There are 4 levels: disinterest, fond, crush, and love. Love is the only available starting in step 3, and if you were at bond or what? Love is the only available starting in step 3. Or love is only available starting in step 3. What? Why did I add the in there? Love is only available starting in step 3, and if you were at fond or crush in step 2. Comfort determines how you generally react/think when it comes to him. There are 3 levels: nervous, relaxed, and direct. Your level of interest and comfort will set the type of dynamic your character has with the love interest. What you did in the past will influence the present, and feelings can change over time. You get to pick your interest/comfort near the beginning of every step. Comfort can switch between the 3 levels as you please. Your interest level can only stay the same or increase. Your current level of interest will become the new lowest option on the screen in the future. For example, if you decide to be fond in step 1, disinterest will not be available on the screen in steps 2 and 3, which will make fond the bottom level option for your relationship. Interest level has an impact when it comes to physically interacting with Cove. While growing up, things are rather simple. I was not expecting to talk this much before we even saw the character. If you get along with one another and have a close relationship, you can choose to touch him, and Cove will occasionally interact with the MC in lighthearted or comforting ways. But starting at step 3, touching can become more romantic or suggestive if you're at crush or love. To make sure things go nicely with that, there will be an extra choice to determine initiate level, and a bonus mini tutorial that goes along with the choice to explain the future in more detail. Basically, if you even if you decide you like Cove, the game won't force you to act on those feelings. You can always choose not to get together with him, choose not to accept or give romantic gestures, etc. If you do decide to date Cove, though, you can't break up with him later. Interest/comfort gets the basics down, but it's the choices that appear throughout the normal game events that decide what actually happens between MC and Cove. And it isn't only the MC who is impacted by your decisions. Cove grows and changes over the years. How he's treated and what he experiences helps shape who he becomes. In step 2 and 3, Cove's personality, appearance, and interests will be very based on what happens in the previous step. Oh my god. Are visual novels always this dialogue heavy before you can even fucking play? Also, I'm not covering up anything. Okay. It's something of a mystery. Yeah. It's something of a mystery exactly how your decisions end up changing if you could try to guess as you go along. Or if you prefer, you could just design your own ideal Cove directly using the Cove Creator option that pops up at the beginning of steps 2 and 3. Making the choices you want is always more important than making a choice because you feel like you have to in order to get a certain result. When a choice does appear, usually you'll see that hovering cursor of an option or color, yellow, blue, or green. Colors aren't related to specific points or effects. They're only there to give a bit of insight to the tone/emotion of the choice, since text alone can potentially be read in more than one way. Blue tends to be casual/straightforward, yellow more emotive/reactive, and green less uncertain/uncommitted. Though there are hundreds of options in our life and not every choice menu falls in line with that pattern, picking just one color every time doesn't give a gameplay benefit. Only stick to a certain type if that's what you happen to like, otherwise switch between them freely. Always pick yellow, never pick yellow, pursue a romance right from the start, never romance the love interest, be disagreeable or amiable. None of them will lead to a bad ending. You're welcome to enjoy the events and shape the story without reservation, and then, if you like, you can play again or to try something new. There's only ever more good content to discover. We hope you have a nice time with our life. Thank you for playing. And now we can play the freaking game. Ooh, what are the voice names? Is my voice name in here? Ryan. What was that? Well, it is Ryan. Last name, well, I'm definitely not putting my real last name in here. Alright, insert last name. Hello? M? My M key isn't working. What the hell? Or no, wait, it is working. What the heck? Ryan insert name. Nice. I guess I'll just make what feels the most like me. That looks like John does. Say all these eyes. I guess it doesn't matter because they said they wouldn't be like super prominent all the way through, so I guess I'll just go with that. Where is... There's no hazel option? Honestly, yellow is probably the closest to my kind of beige. God, I was not expecting this many options. And my hair is dyed right now, so I guess we're going with that color. I guess we're going with the fact that it's dyed green. Change page. Birthmark. This one doesn't even show up. As far as I know, I don't have any birthmarks or scars. I wish I had freckles. Freckles are actually, like, cute. I also wouldn't describe my hands as chubby. They are, like, big, but, like, not... They're big, but they're not chubby. At least to me. I also appear not to have any weird birthmarks. There's pants, shirts. I would wear skirts if I was... If society was accepting of it, I would wear skirts. Accessory type. I don't really wear a lot of accessories. Guess those are fine. And so life begins. Summer in Sunset Bird, again, what a town name, was a special time of year. Your usually sleepy town began to bustle. It was a popular tourist destination, with people coming from all over to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came with both. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of schoolless vacation with it. During the summer, your moms didn't like you to wander off too far outside of your neighborhood, so you knew the area pretty well. Apparently, I have 2 mothers. That's cool. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly stayed and did what your mom called putting down roots. They built businesses, they got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to the nice young kids who waved when passing their stores. Going for a walk around town mostly meant that the familiar, friendly residents waved or asked who your family was, or most often just said hello. You didn't get why they always said hi, they saw you every day, but you know, like them anyway. Oh, choices. I guess I'm just gonna play this like me? Like, I don't know. I am introverted. No such choice I can't. Didn't really. Like, if I actually know people, I'll say hi back, I guess. It was the polite thing to do after all, and your mom said taught you to always be respectful. Yes. But today there was a man sitting on the curb outside your house. He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over, and you wondered if he was even a real person or a statue that eventually sprung up on the ground overnight. Whoever, or whatever he was, you had never seen him before. The only thing about knowing everyone in Sunset Bird was that people who you didn't recognize really, really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your mom calls it. So, for you, not knowing who a total stranger was set off a lot of red flags. Your mom's had to talk with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. In exactly the same time, you think it could be okay to talk to new people. They mentioned that some people aren't good to talk to, but other types of people can help you even if you don't know them. It's okay to run away if you feel uncomfortable. This seems like the best advice. You weren't sure about this man yet. You felt a bit scared knowing that he was blocking the way to your front door. I mean, if a dude just randomly posted up right outside my house, I probably would feel scared about it. So your mind racing for ideas on how to get past him, but it was too late to escape. There was a split second before your eyes met, and you took in a shaky breath, your eyes darting to the sky, pretending to stare at a bird who was hovering nearby. Hey! His voice startled you and made you jump. But still you didn't look at him. The bird landed on top of a nearby gatepost, and its black feathers ruffled against the gentle breeze. Trying to keep your eyes on it was tough, especially when the man stood up and started to make his way toward you. I always give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, if this actually happened to me, this would probably be the option, but like, I do give people the benefit of the doubt. Man gives a grin of his own back. Do you live around here? What's your name? You looked the man up and down, taking a stance, gained and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed. The way he was acting wasn't. He had sharks on his shorts and a stingray tattoo, and you wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. While you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting for an answer to his question. Yeah, I live here. That's great. He looked happy to hear it, giving you a broad smile. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean $20 bill and crinkled his hand as he held it up to you. You were confused before you looked back at him. Children, be absurdly cautious if a man just randomly approaches you and pulls money out of his pocket. Well, could you do me a favor? Nothing bad, sorry. Let me start over. That is straighter. From where you were standing, it just made him look creepier. I have a son. His name is Cove, who's about your age. Seemed like a strange name for an actual living person. Yeah? To the answer, gee, this guy was definitely obsessed with water. He thought that was pretty cool. But definitely the kind of name somebody like this guy would give the kid. Honestly, yeah. That's not a bad sounding name, at least. We moved in across the street, see? He gestured toward the house that had been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight and reflecting off the walls. The gigantic for sale sign was finally gone. You must be Ryan, insert name, right? I met your moms earlier, and they told me you were 8, just like him, so... He shook the $20 bill to bring it back to your attention, a hopeful smile tilting his lips at the corners. Can you try to be friends with the boy? Just give it a chance, and you can keep this. He's a good kid. You'll like him. But you've got to keep it a secret, too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you. Yeah, this is what I would be wondering. Like, my parents never paid me to be another kid's friend. And your mom's done that for you and Lizzie? Thought made you frown. What do you say? Want to make a deal? I just run away. Story ends. I'd feel bad taking his money, but like, if I was being genuine, I would probably feel really bad taking his money. Well, actually, when I was 8, I definitely wouldn't have minded taking his money, so okay. He carefully plucked the bill from his outstretched hand, grinning at the thoughts of what you could do with that much cash. Sweet. I had a ticket to the newest movie. There's a cute stuffed animal you'd seen in the store. It cost a few dollars to set up a library card with this you could pay for yourself instead of having your moms do it. You weren't even sure yet. Honestly, if it was me back then, I would probably spend it on games, not candy or movies. Wasn't even sure yet. Sky was the limit with that kind of amount. The man smiled at you, his eyes crinkling at the sides as he did. Great. That's great. I'll bring him by tomorrow. I want him to meet and greet with the neighbors today, but... well, I don't know where he's gotten off to. He laughed when he said that, but with the way his face looked, you thought he actually wanted to cry. If you see him, can you tell him to come on home? He's got a pink cast and glasses. You can't miss it. I can try... You nod, not totally certain that you'd find Cove, but willing to look. The man smiled and reached out to pat you on the head, paused before doing so, then pulled his hand away instead. You definitely shouldn't be doing that to a kid, you say. Your mom's already checking around for me. Such a thoughtful group you are. I better go look too. Can't put everyone else to work while I keep sitting here. I thought he might come home, and that's not what's important. I have to go. Thanks again, Ryan. So much. He jogged off down the street without another word. He decided to check the hills behind your house. Oh shit. We're gonna meet a boy, chat. We're gonna meet a boy. The chirping of crickets in the tall grass greeted you, quiet and familiar. From the top of the hill, you could see the ocean. As you walked, you listened to the crash of the waves on the shore, and the seagulls squawking as they settled down for the night. One, you hear stories about the sea. Especially the sand, rough and coarse, and gets everywhere. No, even as a kid, I've freaking adored the ocean. I looked forward to always going to the ocean. Sometimes Lizzie would join you, the two of you splashing each other in the waves. Those were the best days. You took in a deep breath. You wanted to try to relax, and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you that you weren't alone. You glanced around. There's a boy sitting at the top of the hill, almost completely hidden within the long grass and white flowers surrounding him. His head was buried in his knees, staring ahead by himself. For whatever reason, probably just that he wasn't paying attention, he hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling a bit like you'd found a deer in the wild. Though deer didn't have green hair. I mean, deer definitely don't have... Dude, those eyebrows are wavy. I'm getting a picture of them, like, underneath, and jeez. It's like, deer definitely wouldn't have huge glasses. But this new boy did. You watched as he pushed them up the bridge of his nose with a finger. After a few more seconds, you took a step forward, then another. And then he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him and show you weren't scary. Yes. Hi. At the start, he jumped to his feet, his hands balling into fists at his sides. He didn't say anything, just stared at you in a strange way. He'd been crying. There were traces of tears on his cheeks and his knees, soaking the hem of his shorts. and his eyes were still shining with a few more. You'd obviously caught him off guard. His pink cast seemed to glow in the twilight, though when he caught you staring at it, he hid his arm behind his back. Something the man earlier had said stuck out to you. Cove? Eyes wide, he studied you. How'd you know that? This kid says, how'd you know that? You touched the money in your pocket, feeling it crinkle beneath your fingertips. I met your dad.
Oh.
So, is this your hill? He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect. I can leave if it is. I mean, no. While doing so, you also picked at a strand of lint on your leg. What a weird question to ask someone. Oh.
Sorry, folks. That took me a while.
No, you're fine. We're doing a visual novel.
Okay, I'm going over pancetta recipes, so if I ask for opinions from our resident chef man here, don't be surprised.
Okay, just don't be annoyed at how much I'm gonna read tonight.
Why the fuck would I be?
I don't know. I usually don't talk when I play the games, or I usually just respond to y'all when y'all talk. I feel like just me talking a whole bunch could drown out things you want to say.
I'll just say things in response to what you're reading out loud.
Fair enough. He sat back down with a thump, resting his chin on his knees again. Curious about how the strange new boy with the odd dad, you sat on the patch of grass next to him. The pure white flowers that covered this hill rocked back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made them seem like flowers too. The night wind was cool as it traveled over the ocean and up the hill, chasing away the heat from the afternoon sun. Why?
Fuck it, I'll get it.
Why are you here? Quiet hiccup escaped Cove as soon as you asked the question. Almost like they never stopped, his tears started up again with a vengeance. My parents...
Oh, no, don't cry!
I think it's a bit late. They don't want to live together with me anymore. The tears fell fast and heavy over his flushed cheeks, sticking in his dark lashes. My mom made my dad leave and he took me with him. And now we have a house here and I want to go home. The outburst took you off guard. By the time he was done wailing, Cove's chest was heaving with exhaustion. He sniffled and removed his glasses, wiping at his eyes with the back of his hand before he put them back on again. Okay, as someone with glasses, you never wipe your glasses with the back of your hand.
You're just gonna get your glasses.
Yeah, that's how you fog up your glass. I guess you don't care when you're a kid. I hate this place. I want my real life back. I want my mom.
Whoa. Is his mom, like, dead, or...?
I think his parents apparently got divorced. And I think she may not have wanted... And I think she may not have wanted him?
Oh, that's worse!
At least he still got his dad.
Oh, no, that's fucking sucks. Like, that's gotta be wrecking that kid emotionally.
Yeah.
Ooh, vodka sauce. No.
This poor kid has to be going through such sad emotional trouble. Ooh, sauce.
Sorry, I am looking at recipes.
I know, it's just so hilarious that came out of nowhere.
With like vodka sauce. I've had vodka pasta sauce. It tastes fucking delicious.
It does taste pretty
And most
good.
of the alcohol's cooked out of the sauce anyway, so like you're not gonna get drunk off of it.
God, I feel like current me and kid me would say two different things with this situation. It's like current me would probably apologize and try to console the person, and younger me would be like, you can like it here. But I guess since I am 8 years old in this story, I'll go with my younger instincts, which is, you'll like it here. He slipped his hands underneath his glasses and pressed his fingers against his eyelids. Cove wound himself up again for another long crying fit. Sunset Bird was a nice place to live. It had a beach, playgrounds, a good school. At least you thought so. But from way off in the distance, You heard your parents. Ryan! Cove? Kids, where did you go? Cove looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks. Don't tell them we're here.
I want to go home.
Why?
I don't want to go back to that house. I want to go home.
Oh. Oh, baby. Oh, sweet, sweet child.
Oh, no. Here's where older me wants to reel things towards comfort.
Clean off the top of the stove. Or the oven. Fuck, I'm sorry.
Is it bad that younger me would just say don't worry so much? I feel like that's the worst thing I could say right now.
That is in fact the worst thing you could say.
That's what my younger self would say.
Then say it, I guess.
No, I'd more than likely probably just say, like, it'll be okay. You were struck by a sudden need to reassure Cove. It's not gonna be all fun, but isn't he your family too? Yeah, I guess. Then you can count on him when you really, really need him. You shot him a grin and pushed yourself to your feet. Slowly Cove stood up with you, still looking a little reluctant. His dad's voice rang out again. Cove, can you hear me? He looked towards the sound of his dad's voice, silent, then turned away while rubbing his not bandaged arm. Sorry, I still don't want to go. Oh. I feel like actually my younger self would just wait with him. I feel like my younger self would just silently wait. Yeah, I get it. You do? Before you can answer, you heard Cove's dad, even closer than before. There you are, bud. A trio of parents appeared over the curve of the hill. Instantly, all their eyes landed on you and they rushed over. Whoa, these are my mothers? Nice. I've got good moms. Both of your moms were at your side in a split second, faces filled with worry. Ryan, you're here after all. Oh god. Oh god. Oh no.
Hang on, I'm trying to get the dog off my bed.
No, you're fine. I just got hit with a word.
What is the word?
So, in this game, I have two parents. Two mothers. One is called Mom, and one is called Mommy.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
So, who's who?
Oh, wait. No, TJ doesn't want her.
Neither of them look like my actual mother in real life. Jesus Christ. We've been at the park to check for Cove, and then heard what happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off further away. Then... No, we're okay, Moms. Don't worry. Okay, so... Mommy is the darker-skinned mother. And Mom is the lighter-skinned mother.
Apparently pancetta works decently with peaches, according to several recipes I've been finding.
I mean, meat and fruit just works well together. Apple sauce and pork chops is like a very common thing. Were you two having fun out here? He looked over at Cove, who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing at his arms. I think I'm gonna marry him! I would never say this as a kid. No, I like him. Finally letting go of his squirming, scowling son, Cove's dad turned to the three of you.
That's a relief.
Thanks very much for finding him. I really don't know this neighborhood.
Good thing Ryan knows this whole area so well.
Absolutely. You should be getting home now. It's been a long day for us all. Say goodbye, Cove.
Who is that? Wait,
Bye.
it is a risotto.
The two of them walked into the darkness, heading towards the neighborhood. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared.
Tell you what, we'll have a proper playdate tomorrow, okay? Your new friend's dad wanted to bring him by to see you and Lizzie.
How does that sound? It sounds like words. It sure does, because they were words.
Of course.
Of course.
Then
Then okay. Both of your moms laughed, the sound overlapping into a warm, familiar chorus. This word.
Hang on.
I swear to God. Mommy put her arm around your shoulder and led you towards the path. Satisfied and more than a little ready to go to bed after your long, exciting day, you followed them home. Choose your feelings for Cove. For this step. It can change in later steps. I'm nervous just because I want him to be okay. But I do like him. He's like... Oh, the eyebrows change. And the smile changes. Love has special requirements. Check the tutorial. No, I like him. I like him. He just makes me nervous. You won't be able to change it again until step 2. Yeah. Oh, this theme achievements do show up on the monitor. Okay. At the breakfast table the next morning, you finish your food faster than usual. Your sister Lizzie had run out earlier to go play, but you'd stayed put. Today, just like your moms had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out.
excited to see your new friend, Ryan?
Sorry.
You're good.
Conversation.
You nodded, smiling slightly.
How sweet.
How sweet. I'm so happy he moved in.
Okay.
With that said, are you done with your breakfast?
Your bowl was entirely empty, so you nodded. I was a fast eater as a kid, so yeah, my bowl would be very empty.
Mm-hmm. Good job. He should be here soon.
Cleanup began, and then on cue, there was a knock. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure they were in the right place. Still loud, though. We need to get a more obvious doorbell.
I know. Ryan, could you get it?
Wheeling out of your chair without really pushing it back, you made your way to the door. Oh yeah, Amanda, in this, I didn't want to put my real last name, so my last name in this is insert name.
That's a dumb fucking idea.
I didn't want to put my real last name on here. Hey, insert name family. Thanks for having us. Mr. Holden, as your moms have called him, and his son were here. Cove looked different in the bright lighting of your living room, and when he wasn't crying. With his dad standing in front of him and mom and mommy behind you. I'm gonna become desensitized to this word now, I swear to God. You and Cove looked at each other.
Pleased to meet your new friend again. You smiled at Cove.
He smiled back with some hesitation.
You want to see my room?
Okay.
Okay.
Take care.
Let us know if you need anything, you two. Have fun, kids.
See you later, son. Play nice. Oh, I got a pretty cool... I wish I had a room this cool growing up. They got the freaking slanted... Like, you could tell my room is built beside the roof because it's slanted.
The ceiling.
Yeah. You led him to your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. There were lots of stuffed animals, a cool bed, a window to look out. It was a great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were really proud of it. He leaned in a little closer to one of your drawings on the wall.
I like this.
All I need is fucking wine noodles. It's just really wine noodles.
I drew that. Cool.
You smiled at him. You were proud of that particular piece of art, and you were glad he noticed it. He turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on your desk and the pictures on the walls. What would Kid Me... I don't think Kid Me knew how to read the atmosphere of a room, so I definitely wouldn't say the atmosphere was awkward. I just hope he likes my room. You put a lot of effort into making your room as nice as it was. You hoped he didn't say anything bad about it. Then his eyes landed on the tiny box of beach things you'd collected, tucked away by your door. He took a step towards it, before hesitating and pointing at it instead.
What's that?
A hoard of stuff I found at the beach.
Oh.
Do you have any driftwood in there?
Checking the box in the middle of the room, you and Cove flopped down next to it. Yeah. He gestured to a piece at the bottom still covered with specks of sand.
Neat.
Neat. It's a cool collection.
You had the sense from the tone of his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice, or to be like... Shiloh? Ooh, okay. He actually meant it.
Ah, Shiloh is coming over.
Shiloh? My sister's friend. He wants to,
Meet you.
Hmm.
Do I have to see him?
It'll be okay, I think. Here, I find the shell on a log and... You pull out seashell after seashell, explaining where you've gotten each one and holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small ones, pink, purple, and orange. Most of them you had washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. Don't do that, that will, like, clog your sink drain.
Oh yeah, it will clog your drains so fucking horribly.
Our bathroom sink was, like, tremendously clogged for, like, years because we poured something similar to sand down the drain accidentally. Or Kid Me did.
Oh.
Over the past few years, you'd even learned some of their scientific names. This was so huge and varied that you had lots of funny stories. You used to tell for all of them. Voice faltered a little bit, but you kept going as best you could. I probably would have a lot of interesting stories. Apparently fascinated either by the stories or by the shells themselves, Cove listened with what looked like the full force of his attention. Like when you almost get pinched by a herder crab while searching for shells, and after watching him scuttle back to the ocean, you found another empty shell that was almost a twin to his home. It was a new experience to be the center of such dedicated focus. But Cove hadn't been mean to you, so you didn't mind. You smiled at him every now and then, while showing him your collection. Kids, come down to the living room. You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mommy was giving you much of a chance to hang around. Wasn't giving you much of a chance to hang around.
It looks good.
So if you want to pin it, an idea is that maybe we can...
Cove hadn't been like this meeting you.
Pin it, but we can't afford it.
You guess it was because he thinks you found each other by accident, not that a parent made it happen.
What do you think about it?
Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove... What? Oh, Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was part of that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you both went escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room ready for Shiloh's visit. Two of you sat side by side on the floor with your home's entryway.
I brought the box of shells. I want to keep looking at them.
Hey, could you call Gomo,
Hey, but be careful.
please?
I will.
Yeah.
You weren't sure if you could trust someone else with your treasures yet, so you stayed next to him while he opened the lid and peered inside. He reached in and pulled out a big orange shell.
Oh,
Oh, sick.
Like he hadn't spoken aloud yet, and he turned to you and held it up, his eyes shining.
I think this one is the best of them.
Hey, Thorn! Hello! Welcome on in. Curious that you just somehow found me, but hi, hello. How's it going?
Of
It's going
course.
pretty good. We're playing a visual novel that JB recommended to me. I gotta admit, like, it's kind of fun so far. I'm not someone who plays visual novels a whole lot, but like this is kind of nice. I hope things are good on your end. Oh my, it's not. Apparently, it's not a bad visual novel. I would have been made aware of this, and JB probably wouldn't have even recommended it. Which, you said you like the big orange one? You can take it. Cove looked at it. Vision off is getting to the spicy stuff. I see this isn't adult stuff. Don't worry. Cove looked up at you with surprise, his eyes going wide.
Really?
Sure. You like it a lot, right?
Uh-huh, but I don't want to take it from you. It's okay.
You got the impression he was hesitant to accept something because he didn't know you very well. No, you take it.
No, it's okay for you.
He pushed the shell against Cove's chest, willing him to receive the present. But Cove firmly shook his head and kept his arms tightly at his sides. It was a battle you couldn't win, at least not today. Cove was your neighbor now, but maybe you could give it to him another time. Oh no, dude, the moment they start talking flirty, you're in the danger zone. Well, they're 8 years old right now, so hopefully they won't be. Oh, that's a cool emote. I need to work on getting... Did I go back? Accidentally. Two of you were still sitting on the floor looking through your collection of beach findings when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person had knocked, you figured it was probably Shiloh. He knew where to look for that.
Lizzie's friend?
You nodded, but that didn't seem to make Cove feel better. It was already obvious that Cove didn't hide his feelings well. You could tell what he was thinking right away.
This isn't a good idea.
I'm sorry, there's nowhere to go. He's at our only door, and if you go upstairs, he'll find you. This is an 8-year-old character? Yeah, apparently this game starts off with us as kids, and then ends up with us as, like, mid-20-year-old adults. But for now, yeah, we literally just met this kid yesterday in-game. Cove glanced around the room, his eyes wide, and finally paused, with his gaze locked onto the back of the house.
I can go out the window.
He was already walking towards it. Scrambling to think of something you say, you stepped forward, then paused. Do you want to break your other arm? He's scared personally. Cheer up, Shiloh's gonna like you. Please don't get hurt. Good idea, let's go.
But if not,
I couldn't tell at all. I couldn't at all tell this was supposed to be a child. That's rough, to be honest. I mean, I can tell. His head is huge compared to the rest of his body. Also, it's not really obvious to see when he's on screen, but when he's beside his dad, he's, like, waist high with his dad. Shiloh is the least scary person alive. Every single bunny rabbit is scarier than Shiloh.
But I don't want to see him. I don't know him.
I'll encourage him. Trust me. You'll be okay.
Okay.
Bella poked his head into the living room. It was impossible to know for sure if he'd heard what you've been saying or not, but you guessed that he had.
Hi.
Hi, Ryan. And hi, Cove?
Not what I expected him to look like. Is he covered in sand? Cove shot you an uneasy glance.
Hi.
Hi.
It's Shiloh. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah. You have a lot of freckles.
Right, I do. What are you guys doing?
We're looking at shells.
Can I do it too?
Awesome. Can I do it too?
Cove shrugged, then looked back at your box of beach findings.
What about that one?
The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach things some more. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else, especially if Cove was having fun. You held out a recent find to Cove, a scallop shell that was washed up on shore.
It's a pretty color. Kinda reminds me of my cast.
The beautiful glittering pink did look a bit like the wrap around his arm.
Pink is a nice color.
Okay.
Oh?
Is it your favorite?
Not really.
What is?
That looks like a child. The other one has too much of an adult face. Like, legit. I guess... sorta? But then again, like... it is a kid, even if it doesn't look like it. Maybe green. Or blue. It might be yellow.
Oh, those are all cool.
Yes.
I guess. Not sure how to deal with these subtly more awkward silence you back at your shell. I like those colors too.
Awesome.
Both of them smiled. Like usual, it didn't take long for Shiloh to get fidgety. Lizzie was his favorite. Without her around, Shiloh didn't seem to know what to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. He wasn't that much like you either.
Is Lizzie coming back?
Don't know.
Aw. Where'd she go?
I think she's at the beach, probably.
Is she playing at her park?
Cove's eyes lit up at the mention of the park, and he looked towards you. There's a park? Yeah, but it's old. Can you show me? I want to go. He started getting up before you had even answered, and Shiloh jumped up beside him in excitement.
Really? You do too, right, Ryan? You do too, right, Ryan? The park is fun.
I did love parks as a kid. I did love burning off energy, so yeah.
Yeah. It's right at the beach, so there's lots of fun stuff to do. And lots of sand.
There's a jungle gym and a bunch of swings. That sounds like it could be cool.
So are we going to find Lizzie?
I don't know. I never really wanted to see her. I just wanted to check the park out. Adrift without any direction, Shiloh finally turned to you. Okay. You perked up. Both boys wanted to go. It was only fair. After getting permission from your moms, the three of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced her moms that it was so short she should always be allowed to walk there by herself. I guess if it's a very, very safe neighborhood, okay, but like, always keep sight of your kids. Like, if your kid's going to the beach, be nearby. Like, be within, like, a stone's throw of your child. Don't throw stones at your child, just be within a stone's throw. When you found her, she was hanging on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey, Lizzie. Her face lit up when she saw you, her big brown eyes growing wide.
Ryan! Shiloh! Hi!
She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shiloh had evaded you two and scrambled over to stand by her. You were used to being left out when it was just the three of you, but now Cove was here. You wondered if he would leave too.
Who's that? It's Cove. He's new. I remember. Hi, Cove. Welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together.
She gestured wildly with her arms as if to present the area to the newcomer. While Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wiggle your toes through the warm sand.
Nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas.
You are?
Yeah, I am. Who else could handle the job? Lizzie is the oldest. By a lot. My mom say you're Ryan's age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought so. I was still the only one in the group with double digits.
What about other kids?
Other kids?
There aren't any.
There aren't any. We're the only kids here, and Shiloh is just visiting from another place. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is the land of ancients. Be careful that the oldies don't try to steal your youth.
Oh.
Oh.
For a second, it looked like he might cry again. Something in his eyes shifted, and he looked back to Lizzie. What kind of old people? Like moms and dads or grandparents?
Grandparents who don't have any kids. They hate kids.
Why? We haven't done anything. Stop saying stuff like that, Lizzie. You interjected quickly, hoping Cove wouldn't start crying again. He sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Shiloh was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation.
I met Lizzie and Ryan in school. You'll see tons of kids here once summer is over.
I don't want to go to a new school. I don't want summer to end. Shiloh looked down at the dirt. He hadn't had much luck striking up conversation with Cove.
I like summer vacations a lot too.
All the building touched in the air suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed. At Shiloh's discomfort, or at how weird she thought Cove was at something else entirely you didn't really know, but she laughed, face scrunching up.
Okay.
Welcome to Sunset Bird Cove. Take a seat, put up your feet, and get used to it.
You offered him a small smile, and that, at least, looked to reassure him some. For the rest of the summer, Cove was always there. You saw him more often than Shiloh, and on some days, when he was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life, the way sun and lunch and the beach were. During your first summer together, you really liked Cove. He was a fun person to play with, and he seemed to like playing with you too. Of course, that was only the start of things. What is... Huh? Oh, this is where I can, like, select... I think we're gonna leave the DLC stuff alone. At least for this stream. We're only gonna play casual. So I can just go to the next thing by hitting this if I want to. Does that show up on... Oh yeah, behind my camera it says, and then summer ended. So let's start here. Come back before it gets dark, alright, sport? The familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you'd been watching inch slowly across the pavement. Yeah, see, look, he's... I guess he does look like his dad, and his dad looks like a typical romance novel interest. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face from where the breeze was blowing it over his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you first met Mr. Holden, although he's probably not paying Cove to be friends with himself. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow, or maybe you made a noise, because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You've got to learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together to free them of sand, then jogged over to join the two, smiling at Cove first and then his dad.
Ryan!
It's so cool how they had the voice expansion thing in here. Ryan, hi!
How's it going?
Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Ryan?
Nothing.
You toed the pavement in front of you. It would be nice to tell him about the snail you found, but you didn't know if they liked snails. After you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun.
It does?
You weren't sure about that. You know, Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him? You gave a ready nod, turning to squint in the direction of the stores, like you could see the goods they had to offer all the way from where you stood.
Oh, is that
okay?
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Great. I'm sure you guys still have loads of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. You found it odd since your moms only ever seemed to have cards in theirs. Here. He leaned past a crisp tent at Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Get something for your friend, too.
Sure.
Good kid.
That's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he was straightening back up. The bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care. Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped it into his pocket. Then, with one last nod to his dad, he turned and started walking. He followed after him, intrigued at the possibilities this outing might bring. Go straight towards the gentle tide creeping up the sand, and you fell into place beside him. It was a nice day. The sun was shining and there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. You took in a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean air. When you looked at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down to wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. What is it?
Nothing.
He kept staring down at the ground, though. You bit down on your lip a little, wanting to say something else, but not knowing what. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times, and although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. What do you usually do on the beach?
Lots of things. Like bodyboarding and volleyball and surfing and everything and stuff.
The idea of standing on a big board while the waves propelled you towards shore was mystifying. I'm not allowed to surf. I'm not allowed to surf. It looks hard. What?
Well, once you get the hang of it, I could show you sometime. But I'm also not supposed to surf right now because I have this.
He lifted up one arm, showing off the glaring pink cast wrapped around his wrist. Yeah. That's sad for him. Cove still smiled, though. You thought his nonchalant attitude towards his injury was pretty brave. I also like collecting stuff that's on shore. Shells, sand dollars. I found a shark tooth once. You did? Cove stretched out his forefinger and thumb.
It was this long.
That was somehow both scary and delightful. No way.
I mean it. I still have it under my bed.
You have to remember to ask him to show it to you sometime.
So.
What about it? What about you? What do you do out here?
Honestly, like, as a kid, I was thoroughly addicted to swimming, and especially swimming at the beach. Cove's lips curled up in a small smile.
Me too.
It occurred to you that he hadn't been swimming in a while. There was just so much to do before school started up again and so little time. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. It was nice. It was not very nice. No, the way beach food smells, I swear it's very different and very much better. Let me check something real quick. Okay. I just needed to check to make sure something was okay. The energy surrounding the area seemed to fill you, and there was a bounce in your step as you began looking at all the familiar sights. There were so many things to do you didn't know where to begin. You looked at Cove, hoping he was just as excited as you are. Cove was glancing from one side of the street to the other with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out.
What's that?
Cove pointed to a large crowd of people gathered near a few tables with large, colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what all the commotion was about. Feast your eyes on the amazing Alexander! On the side of the crowd was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had 3 long tails. There was a little table next to him with a cloth hanging over it that read, "The Amazing Alexander" in glittery golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on a sign? Cove hummed with understanding, then turned to walk away just as the Amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. You bit your lip, reluctantly starting to follow after Cove again. You continued looking over your shoulder, however, wanting to see as much as you could before you got too far away.
Hey!
Not watching where you were going proved to be a bad idea. She bumped right into Cove. Oh, sorry.
Did you want to stay or something?
If that's okay. He briefly lifted his arms up to the side before returning them to place.
You could have said so.
With that, it began. The magic man pulled one card out of the deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was a 4 of diamonds. Watch closely. You did, squeezing through a few of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his fingers and the card just disappeared. Whoa. The Amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? Nothing? It's true, you didn't keep anything back there. You smelled like popcorn and candy when you stepped closer, and you wrinkled your nose in confusion as you watched him. You felt a tug, and then he pulled the 4 of diamonds out from behind your ear.
What?
Pause the stream, everyone. bad news.
What happened?
So Ryan, you know how we're curing some meat to some pig gel to turn into guanciale? I think I told you about that.
Yes, you did. Also, welcome back, Thorn. What about the meat?
It did not have proper airflow and developed green mold.
Oh no.
Not salvageable.
Very not salvageable. Although, to be fair, like, not like that, but I'm fairly certain that there is some way of preserving meat where it does grow mold on the outside, and yet you just cut away the mold and it's fine. But I forget what it is. R.I.P. meat.
We're gonna look into a fridge for like
Proper.
for proper airflow. My mom is calling me.
Go answer your mother.
I'll be dead.
You knew that it couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't know how he'd done it. There was light applause from the crowd, and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. Bishop plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them tied down to his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of a normal circle. And one for your friend, too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow. Hey, we're really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. My uncle does that every time he visits. Not the balloon, the stuff with cards. Cove spoke politely while reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. It was just ruining the fun. Wondered if his whole fail was magic. If so, he was lucky. The crowd started to clear some, and you noticed to the side that there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes on display. Okay, even as an adult, I don't know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, so I definitely would not select a Rubik's Cube. But I would know what a magic 8-ball is. Oh. You shifted your balloon string to your other hand so you could hold it up in front of you. Then you thought of a question in your mind, shaking the ball and hearing some kind of liquid slosh around inside it. Once you had given it a good shake, you held it upright, waiting for the answer to appear. Concentrate and ask again. You wrinkled your nose and set the magic 8-ball back on the rack. It wasn't the answer you were hoping for. You followed Cove around to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin, and you joined him. Are you having fun? He nodded, and you smiled back, and I'm happy to hear it. When Cove moved towards some stalls nearby, you followed beside him. I love beach trinkets. While Cove looked at sand pails, you were drawn to a table with colorful keychains laid on it. They were sewed in the shape of sea creatures, and there was a plaque that read, "Handmade," standing proudly in front. There were lots of different types. You saw a dolphin, a shark, a crab, a turtle. Okay, my mom likes turtles the most. But I think as a kid, I would probably take the dolphin, because as a kid, I didn't know... I mean, I still like dolphins, it's just like... I know about dolphins now. Your hand stopped on the dolphin, so similar to your balloon animal. It was made up of a bright material that caught the sunlight when you picked it up. You remember once seeing a pot of... Dolphins are awesome. Dolphins are cool, but dolphins are bastards. Like, I will say, dolphins are cool, but dolphins are bastards. You remembered once seeing a pod of dolphins swimming out in the distance at the beach, jumping out of the water and splashing as they dive back in. That's what makes them awesome. I guess, yeah. That was a great day. You were instantly enamored. Checking the price though, your heart fell. $6. You didn't know much about money, but you thought that was a lot to spend on one thing. You rarely had more than a $5 bill to your name. Though that changed the day you met Cove and his dad, you still had the $20 bill Mr. Holden gave to you hidden away in your room. It was a grand sum of money, but you couldn't spend something that was at home instead of in your pocket. Maybe you'd have to ask your mom to bring you here one day, now that you knew what you wanted. Is that what you want?
Huh? Oh. It's $6. I didn't bring any money.
Alright.
It's fine.
I think even as a kid, I would be like, you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to get it for me. Cove didn't mind that. He took the keychain from your hands, and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself, too.
I was gonna get you something anyways. Or I was always gonna get you something. I already got the money for it.
You were a little nervous, but happy with your purchase nonetheless. It was nice of Cove's dad to let Cove buy something for you, too. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out of the shore, side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around in the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly.
Hey, Cove.
Yeah?
Thank you. It's alright.
It wasn't clear if he really knew how much you appreciated it.
What?
You were going to thank him for the keychain, but instead you just shook your head, smiling. Cove raised an eyebrow, but didn't push the issue. Cove looked further down the street where different food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over his stomach, and just as he did, yours let out a light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch.
Let's get some food.
Yeah. You two wandered around a short while, looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious, and as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over to you, your stomach growled even louder. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. I would never agree on pretzels. I think even as a kid, I didn't like them. I mean, pretzels are okay, but more than likely, if it's a pretzel that's, like, completely saturated with those giant grains of salt, I'm not interested in it. I would never pass up pizza. I would never pass up pizza as a kid. Cove got something sweet and cinnamony, and you... Oh, I can choose what I want with it. Honestly, cinnamon pretzels are dope. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed your pretzel over, ready to take a huge bite. Your moms didn't like you to eat too much sugar, but this is a special occasion. The little cup of icing looked too delicious to pass on. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noises when you dragged the chairs out to sit down. These balloons are going to make it hard to eat. Bill placed his bucket on the table, and he stared at his still balled-up hand that was wrapped around the string. You opened your mouth to agree before an idea hit you. I know. After carefully placing your pretzel somewhere it wouldn't get sandy, you tugged the balloon dolphin out of Cove's hands and tied it with a delicate bow around his wrist.
Oh.
Cove bounced his arm up and down in place, testing the stability of your knot. After watching his balloon jostle around but remain attached, he smiled, satisfied. Could you help me too? I can't tie it to my own wrist. He repeated the ritual. Cove struggled somewhat with the cast restricting his fingers on one hand and a string already tangled around the other.
Okay.
Got it.
The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow easy munching of your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste on your tongue with a smile as you looked out over the ocean. After a time, you finished your pretzel. You were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to look like it was jumping through the air. If you turned to face towards the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. I miss what he named his dolphin. Can I go back and see? Dang it, I missed what he named his dolphin. I bet it was something cool. He's Merryweather. He's the prince of all of the dolphins. How far back was it? I just skipped it. I just didn't. I don't know if there's a way to go back in this. Log? Oh, I can check the log. When you glance back at Cove, he had the remaining part of his pretzel on the wrapper, and he was gripping his dolphin too. Oh, so I named mine first. My name is Cherry. She's actually an alien. When Noah's looking, she transforms back into her true alien self. She has purple skin and 10 eyes. You sighed, wishing you could meet a real-life alien. What's yours? Cove considered this question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across it in contemplation.
It's...
With a loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons.
Oh no.
For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw tears start to glisten.
Ryan, it...
Oh yeah, I'm definitely giving him my balloon. You looked at Cove, then up to your balloon, bobbing gently in the air above you. You can have mine. That was better than letting him cry more. Cove sniffled, glancing up at the balloon, then back to you.
No, it's yours. I don't want to take it from you.
It's okay, really. Cove shook his head. Even though it wasn't your fault, you felt bad. Still, the offer seemed to lift Cove's spirits, and that was good. Passing Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand, you decided to sit still for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset, fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It had been a good one, except for the sad final note. Why do I love this game? Why do I actually like this game? I never play visual novels, but like this is so cutesy. Grown up. One sweltering summer day, you were in your living room with Cove, listening to the sounds of the birds chattering outside the window while you lay across the rug on the floor. Cove's dad had dropped him off earlier, and your moms had left the two of you, along with Lizzie, to play amongst yourselves. It had been too hot to go outside in the afternoon, at least according to... Oh yeah, Thorn, you missed it. I've got two mothers. One is called Mom, and the other is called Mommy. This game, I swear to God. So your sister was starting to get impatient, waiting for her golf class that evening. Damn, exactly. The three of you had trouble finding something fun to do. The beach and the playground were off limits, and you felt that it was too warm for anything like playing with your fuzzy toy animals. Then suddenly a light came to Lizzie's big brown eyes, and her smile spread wide across her face. Having an idea gave her a new wave of energy.
Since we're stuck inside, we should be adults. They don't play outdoors anyways. They're always inside and telling people they're too busy to play.
Why?
Why?
Duh.
I said why. It'll be fun. Duh. What do they do inside that we don't, besides use the phone a lot?
Excluding a small huff, Lizzie decides to ignore Cove.
What do you think?
Man, what do you think? What should we do?
Oh, what did I right-clicked? That's the quick save function. Right-clicking, okay. Honestly, as a kid, I probably would not play adults. But I was always forced to go along with what my older sister wanted to play. So... I bet we could come up with something else.
That's what I'm going to do, and it's not as fun when I play pretend adults by myself. Do you do that a lot?
He saves all the time when I play visual novels. I will save if I feel like I'm gonna say something wrong, but like at the beginning they said like nothing you do can be wrong. Like there is no like bad ending to this, they said, so I don't feel the need to save.
Do Do you do that a lot? What's it to you?
Looking at Lizzie, it seems Cove felt he could understand where she was coming from, and he sighed.
Do you really not want to play, Ryan?
It's clear he wanted some way out, but still felt guilty about it. It's more, or just your choices are what they are. Yeah. I mean, if something very serious happens, like, later on in this, I will save and then check out other options, but, like, I can't see that happening right now. What was the... Clear wanted some way out, but still felt guilty about it. I'll try, but that sounds boring.
It's not gonna be, I guarantee.
Lizzie seemed more determined than ever, and you could only sigh. Satisfied that neither of you were about to bail on her, Lizzie thought over her options while you watched. After a few seconds, she clapped her hands together and beamed, apparently having settled on something without asking either of you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna be a professional golfer. Ryan, you and Cove can be a beach volleyball player, a gymnast, or a tennis player. Why can't we pick what we want? Because I have a fun idea, that's why.
And we have to play sports as adults?
Yep. There's other kinds of sports too.
Right?
It isn't the same. What do you think, Ryan? Don't those choices sound super cool? You want to be that, huh?
What did she say? A gymnast, a volleyball player, and a tennis player? If I was going to play any sport when I was young, it was probably baseball. Let's say, is there anything else we can be? Lizzie stomped a foot on the ground.
Nope. Come on, just decide already.
Esports! Thorn gets it. Knowing Lizzie wouldn't let this go anytime soon, you sighed. Cove was not impressed with Lizzie's attitude, though he didn't bother talking more about it for now. You thought over the list of possibilities. Beach volleyball, gymnastics, or tennis. Out of all of them, you prefer to play. And it's StarCraft Broodmore any day. Out of the three, I guess tennis. You remembered Mommy had a couple of old tennis rackets lying around somewhere, but you forgot where you had seen them last. You could check the attic for them, although Lizzie probably wouldn't let you run off and do that now that she had you here. Yes, that was clearly the top option. I guess I'll be a tennis player.
Alright.
How about you, Cove?
I picked volleyball. I should have known.
Okay, so Ryan, you're a famous tennis player, and Cove, you're on a popular beach volleyball team, and I would honestly pick tennis too. It's the one with the least movement out of all those. Are you kidding me? Well, I think gymnastics would... What was it? Gymnastics? Gymnastics, beach volleyball, or tennis? I feel like gymnastics, definitely you move the most. Tennis, you probably put in the most strenuous movement, and then beach volleyball has the most, like, you move the longest. Lizzie's ponytail bobbed when she probably stretched her arms wide.
We're Olympic athletes who just competed in the Olympics.
Cove didn't seem all that impressed with the announcement. He made a face and adjusted the glasses on his nose.
That's really specific.
Rude.
That's what makes it fun. Anyways,
Lizzie marched back and forth in front of you guys, getting lost in her own imagination.
I won all gold medals and people were calling me the next Mickey Wright. Who's that?
Lizzie stopped on the spot and turned, her brown eyes shining with impatience.
Doesn't matter if you don't know who she is, it's a golf thing. You guys won medals too. Both your team was bronze, and Ryan, you barely missed out on the gold and got silver. It's more rare if we're not all first place.
We can do better than silver. Added Lizzie, unhappy with the decision.
Ryan's right.
Sorry.
Lots of people lose at the Olympics. Them's the breaks.
God, my sister's a brat in this. My sister was not this bratty growing up.
Then you're the one who did, not me.
Lizzie looked taken aback by Cove's declaration as though the thought of her losing was completely absurd.
No way! It wouldn't make sense. I'm already practicing my golf game.
She took a golfing stance to make her point, pretending to swing her club and hit an invisible ball.
So what kind of house do you want to live in?
Tennis and volleyball are similar, but volleyball requires a lot more jumping, running, and physical impacting over what tennis has. I guess. Cove hadn't changed his mind about winning, but thinking about where he lives as an adult appealed to him, apparently, because he looked back at Lizzie with some of the anger fading. I'm going to live at the beach. He made a face, then poking at her tongue.
It's kind of boring. We already have that.
No, not like the normal houses here with
The street. On it. Right on the sand, by the water.
just like that, all the tension was back. We hadn't even had a chance to choose where you would want to live.
That's not very fun or smart, Cove. You can't live on a bunch of sanded shells. But I want to, and I will.
Cove narrowed his eyes at Lizzie, even though she stood half a head taller than him.
You didn't give out a list of things for me to pick from this time, so I'm picking that. Why are we even playing pretend if we can't imagine things? Jeez. I'm gonna live in a mansion far away from here and far away from you. One with an indoor pool and a place to practice my award-winning golfing.
It's not fair.
How come you were yelling about mine when your idea is even more impossible? Lizzie's face flushed red. Oh, time for Mortal Kombat. Choose your fighter. Lizzie's face flushed red, her hands balling into fists at her sides.
It is not impossible, and it's better than yours.
Disagreements always seemed to crop up when the two of them were together, and you always felt like you were stuck in the middle. But when it came to the topic at hand, this time you thought... I mean, if I was a kid... I swear as a kid, I remember saying, like, oh, if I could live anywhere, I'd live in space. Like, if I could practically live anywhere, I think I would still live in like, at the very edge of Earth's atmosphere. Like, if I could consistently have a steady supply of food and healthy water, if everything was well taken care of and had, like, 0% chance of crashing, then I would absolutely live at the edge of Earth's atmosphere. But I do think that what Cove said was the most correct.
Cove's idea is good. You shouldn't say that yours is the only right one.
Get me off this rock.
No one asked for your opinion.
He smiled slightly over the agreement, then turned to Lizzie with bolstered confidence. You can swim wherever you want on if you live on the beach.
We could still swim anytime we want on from where we live now. Being a little closer doesn't mean anything.
Says you. Two of them scowled at each other.
Being so unreasonable, you... I don't get what you want. This game doesn't make sense. It does! You have to be realistic! I said that! But you're not.
I think it's legitimately possible to have a house, like, on the sand. You would just need, like, absurdly deep support pillars underneath the house, and for the support pillars not to be made of anything that would rot away quickly. I had no idea what to do to make them stop at this point. It seemed like the two of them would just keep working each other up as long as they could. Nothing you'd said so far kept them from being mad. Thankfully, like a greeting card angel, Mom walked into the room. Lizzie rushed to her, hanging on the hem of her shirt and poking her tongue.
Lizzie, Ryan, it's time to get ready to go.
Oh. Yeah, this is Mom, not Mommy. Structural security is a must when building structures on the beast. Yes. Like, unbelievably yes. Sorry you have to leave already, Cove. Their mommy said we'll walk you home so you won't feel left in the cold. Cove was still staring at Lizzie, his face flushed red with anger.
I can go by myself. But... Bye, Ryan.
There's still a harsh edge to the brief farewell, but you knew it wasn't you he was mad at. Without giving Mom a chance to stop him, Cove stood up and stalked out of the room, shoulders drawn tight.
Okay.
Worried, Mom turned to look down at you and Lizzie. You two were playing with their new friend, weren't you?
They were fighting, Cove and Lizzie, for the whole time.
Your sister's jaw dropped, looking betrayed, and Mom put both her hands to her hips.
Elizabeth! I told you to be nice to him. He's having a hard time right now.
Lizzie's mouth closed back up, replaced by a tiny frown.
I know, I tried, but he was...
That's enough.
No buts. We both know you can show someone a great time when you put your mind to it. We're going to apologize to Cove and his dad over the phone when he gets home from work tonight.
Lizzie hung her head, dragging a foot across the ground in front of her.
Okay, Mom.
Good girl. You got pieces of Lizzie sulking to herself about how it was his fault too, but it was over.
Oh, right. We better get a move on.
Let's go, kids. Noelani? Oh, is that the other mom's name? Noelani. Where did you leave the car keys? Mom hustled you out the door, and you noticed during the car ride to golf rides that Lizzie was quieter than usual. She was usually the first one to request which music to listen to in the car, but she didn't say a thing. Your parents noticed she wasn't in the mood to be bothered. They gave her space, and Mommy just asked you what you'd like to listen to. What kid me would do is different from what me would do. I would pick this. Young me would probably pick this. Eventually, Lizzie came around and started singing along with you. You both knew all the words, and your moms even sang along too. When the car ride was over, you spent the twilight hour watching Lizzie hitting things with other girls her age. You didn't know much about golf, but you could tell that she really liked it, so you sat with your moms and tried to puzzle it out. It was nice sitting outside after being cooped up in the house all day, and you stretched out your legs to let the last few minutes of sun warm your skin. When the sun was finally out of sight, dipping down the horizon, you all got ready to leave. Instead of going straight home, your moms took the family out to dinner. You went to a restaurant you had all been going to ever since you could remember. The whole afternoon had been a bunch of shouting you hadn't been able to stop, but you could kind of tell that all this helped Lizzie be less angry. The car ride home was quiet, with only the radio providing escape from silence. Lizzie had been in better spirits now, but the closer you got to your neighborhood, the more she wiggled in her seat and frowned out the window. She knew it was coming when she got back home. Clearly, she was dreading it. Soon enough, Mom was turning onto your street, then reversing into the driveway. Once she cut the ignition, it was dead silent. No one spoke, only unbuckled their seatbelts and opened their doors. Lizzie was the last one out. Once everyone was inside and done taking off their shoes, she propped her hands on her hips.
So,
Now then, Mr. Colden's is on the driveway, so he should be back from work. That's good news, isn't it, Elizabeth? You and Cove can hash things out before the day's done.
Lizzie didn't complain or put up a fight. Her head ducked so she didn't have to meet anyone's eyes. She nodded once.
Good. Let's move this to the kitchen.
Mom went over to the house phone, the rest of you following behind her. Mommy put a gentle hand on Lizzie's shoulder as they walked side by side. You watched them from the back. This was only happening because you told on Lizzie. Young me would probably think the same as current me. Didn't like doing it, but I had to. Being a tattletale didn't feel good, and you wouldn't want someone else to tell your moms everything you did. Still, your mom had asked directly, and you wanted to be a liar even less. The four of you stood around the kitchen in a lopsided square. All eyes were on Lizzie, who kept her gaze on her feet. Yeah, Thorn, can you figure out why this one's named Mommy? You remember the number for Cove's house, don't you, honey? Lizzie jerked her head in another nod, sullen. Without further prompting, she stepped forward and began to dial. Mom reached over and pressed a button on the base. Suddenly you could... No, not at all. No idea why she would be called Mommy. Not at all. Mom reached over and pressed a button on the base. Suddenly you could hear the phone ringing. She turned on the speaker. Phone rang a couple times and stopped. Mr. Holden's warm voice came through the other end. Evening, Holden residence. Lizzie looked over to Mommy, unsure. She nodded encouragingly.
Hi, Mr. Holden. It's, Lizzie. Can I talk to Cove?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I didn't want my real name on stream, Thorn, so we have my last name as just insert name. Lizzie, insert name. What a surprise. Of course you can say hey to the boy. He sounded cheery as usual, though definitely meant it when he said it was a surprise. You thought hard, and you were sure that your sister had never called Cove's house before. Mom spoke up before Mr. Holden or Lizzie could say anything more. Before anyone could say that Hobo Turkey was playing Guns. I don't know if that appeared on stream. Steam achievements appear on stream, but I don't know if that appeared. Her arms were crossed over her chest, her lips pursed. Hi, Cliff. Noah, Lonnie, Ryan, and I are here too. Good evening. Sorry to bother you so late. We just thought you should know that Hobo Turkey is playing Guns of Icarus online. 3 times, apparently. What's that?
Hi.
The gang's all here, huh? Something the matter? Hobo Turkey. Great name. His voice grew a bit concerned. Mommy was quick to reassure him.
No, well, yes, but it's going to be okay. Lizzie and Cove got into a bit of a fight today. We were hoping that the two of them could talk and make up. Is this a good time for you and Cove?
What?
Fight? Cove didn't tell me anything about that when I came home. It does explain the funk he's been in overnight. He chuckled lightly. Despite that, he didn't seem like he really thought it was funny. Anyway, it's good. You didn't catch us at a bad time. I'll go grab him for you. There was some shuffling on the other end. He must not have gone far because you could still hear him calling out. Cove? There's someone on the phone for you. After a beat of silence, there was more muffled talking from Cove's head. Come on, bud. Lizzie called just so she could talk to you.
Are you sure?
Ryan's on the other end listening too. Don't you want to say hi? It's like a bit of back and forth, though the conversation seemed one-sided since you couldn't hear Cove properly. Eventually, Cove took the phone from his dad.
Hi.
Hello? Hey, it's Lizzie.
Yeah, I know. Dad told me. Cove's tone was defensive. Lizzie turned to Mom, scowling. One stern look from her, though, and Lizzie turned away. Usually make up goofy games when I play AVN, so they're like Max Bingus or Brock Oli. Oh my god, Thorn, can I steal Brock Oli and make that my Blue Sky name? That's great.
Sorry.
I just called to say I'm sorry for not playing nice with you today. I won't do it again.
Lizzie's eyes were downcast, her voice low. She could tell she felt uncomfortable apologizing to Cove in front of everyone. She was still being genuine about feeling bad. Cove must have realized that too because he sighed quietly.
Me and Ryan should get gold too.
That's right. Lizzie kept denying you two of what you deserved. Lizzie was momentarily stunned silent by the demand. She probably forgot that had even happened already.
Alright, we all win the gold.
Okay. I guess I'm sorry too. A sense of relief washed over everyone at his acceptance of the apology. Mom uncrossed her arms while Mommy's shoulders relaxed. Lizzie's eyebrows raised up. I wondered if she thought that he'd refuse her apology. Dad, can I get off the phone now? You couldn't see him, but it was obvious that Cove felt awkward about the situation. It had come off uncomfortable the entire time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go back to your room if you want. Be sure to say goodbye first, though.
Bye, Lizzie. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Ryan. You perked up at the mention of your name. You smiled, even if you couldn't see it. Bye, Cove. With that said, Cove must have handed the phone to his dad and left since Mr. Holden spoke up.
That's a relief.
All's well that ends well, as they say. Thanks for arranging this. I'm sure he appreciates it. As Mom replied, Lizzie hugged on Mommy's hand to catch her attention.
Can I go now, too?
Good job.
Sure, sweetie. Thank you very much for apologizing to Cove. How late am I? Roughly an hour and 40 minutes. Not a ton has happened, but we're not doing DLC tonight, JB. I know you redeemed that. Mommy is the goat. Mommy is. Wait, this is an Undertale? We're not doing DLCs tonight, we're only doing main game stuff. DLC will probably be a different stream. And I don't know how much we're doing tonight. Mom flashed a brief smile at Lizzie and nodded in her agreement. Given permission to leave, Lizzie scurried off towards the stairs. She seemed to be feeling much better with the incident behind her. Mom and Mommy returned to the phone, taking it off the speaker. They continued talking to Mr. Holden. You couldn't tell what about. You were glad that was the end of it all. I didn't redeem DLC, I just bought it for you. You don't have to play it. You literally bought me the DLC, or gifted it to me at least. You don't have to play it. I since you legitimately paid money to give this to me, I don't know if I'm gonna play it on a future stream, but I will definitely play it in the future. Lizzie and Cove might not get along, and probably still won't, but they weren't mad at each other anymore. Mom and Mommy weren't upset either. Everything was finally back to normal. With that thought, you retreated to your own room with a spring in your step. Alrighty. It has been about an hour and a half. I'm actually going to take a quick break while the Cocoa Bean plays Marvel Rivals. Yeah, I will be back. We will go through all of the rest of this. Summer will end, and then we'll do the next part of it all. I don't know how long it's going to take us to get through a whole thing of this tonight, but yeah, I will be back very briefly. The text, where is the middle of the screen? I should just had a button to default set it in the middle of the screen. Okay, that's not exactly the middle of the screen, but it's very, very close. It's also completely unreadable. Alright, I will be back in like 5 minutes to go do stretch and stuff. I gotta run for the day. Have an awesome stream. Thank you, Thorn. Please enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate that you should play through it rather than suffer through it. Well, it would be suffering through it if I was suffering, but this is very nice. Alright, I will be back in a bit. I am back. It's me, your boy, back with water. And having eaten. Real quick, shoveled some leftovers into my face. There are some who say that any sort of visual novel, anything, isn't worth the time to play, and that you may as well read a book. I mean, honestly, visual novels remind me of, like... You know those choose-your-own-adventure books? The ones I remember the most are, like, the R.L. Stine choose-your-own-adventure books. I definitely... I feel like this is a similar case. This is giving off, like, a book where you can partially determine the outcome. And I feel like that's the coolest kind of book. It's just one where you can be like, oh, this happens. It's like writing your own fan fiction, for lack of a better term. Ooh. Alright. Long day. It was another scorching summer day, the kind where no sooner had you finished one cup of water, you were already filling it up again. Everyone else had something on, so that afternoon it was just you and Shiloh. This doesn't happen much, especially because visual novels are choose-your-own-adventure stories, but a bit smarter than paper. Yeah... I will argue, though, that, like, because you're locked into reading a book, like, because you can't influence where the story is going to go in a book, that makes it a bit more, like, suspenseful. Like, oh, what's going to happen? I have no control over it. And I understand that could be part of the appeal. Excuse me. Without Lizzie around, Shiloh looked to you for all the answers. It made you feel... please, frustrated. Shiloh went along with whatever you wanted, so he wasn't a bother, but he also wasn't that much fun. You drained yet another drink and frowned at the empty vessel. Your thirst was gone, but you still craved something icy cold refreshing. Something sweet. Something like... oh, heck yeah. Even as a kid, like, my favorite thing was ice cream sandwiches. We have soft, sweet ice cream sandwich between two cookies. There was nothing like that to be found at home. You knew that without needing to look. Your moms didn't keep sweets in the house. Outside, there were plenty of places where such goodies could be obtained, but they were shops and demanded payment in exchange for the products. Voice my predicament out loud. Some visual novels are just the video game version of an actual choose-your-own-adventure book. Yeah, I guess. While some of them, like... It's a trade-off. I feel like visual novels more immersive, because, like, you can affect things. You feel a little bit more emotional attachment. Books, more suspenseful, potentially less immersion, because it's like... especially if the book is, like, this character's name. Like, you can't envision yourself as another or at least me, I can't envision myself as a character that noticeably. Voice my particular. I want an ice cream sandwich. Shiloh, who had been draped over the sofa, perked up.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
We don't have anything like that in the house, and I don't have money.
Ooh. Oh, let me check if I have any.
Shiloh rummaged through his backpack and proudly produced an assortment of coins plus one stray button. You set the button aside and counted the coins in neat piles. Just over $1. You announced this to Shiloh. He was almost certainly come to the same conclusion, but had been watching you expectantly.
I'm sorry.
We'll need to find some more.
Okay.
Two of you lifted couch cushions, stuck tiny hands down deep crevices in the sofa and under furniture, and scoured the back of drawers. Most of what you found was useless or gross. Bent paper clips, fluffy wisps of dust, or sandy crumbs, but every so often one of you would strike silver or bronze and add it to the growing pile of coins. Your mind wandered to the $20 bill tucked away in your room. It wasn't enough for you and Shiloh to get whatever you wanted and more, but you didn't take it out. Or it was enough for you and Shiloh to get whatever you wanted more, but you didn't take it out. that was too special to hand over so freely. Besides, Shiloh would be curious about where it came from and might even mention your wealth to Lizzie. The exchange hadn't been a secret. Dusty and disheveled from checking every room and squinting at every turn nook, the two of you finished pooling your finds. Shiloh held his breath as you counted the coins once again. $2.53 and 2 buttons. You didn't know when the second button had decided to join the party, but you were too pleased with your successful haul to throw it out.
Is that enough?
You figured he knew the answer without looking to you for confirmation, but the thrill of your success and the reward that would follow canceled out any other feelings you might have had about that.
Hello, I have returned from the 50-minute call that I had with my mother.
You're welcome on back. A lot has happened. And by a lot, I mean, like, typical slice of life stuff.
Oh, well, in that
Right
case,
now we're probably gonna break out of her house to get ice cream sandwiches.
I mean, ice cream sandwiches is a good reason to break out of your house.
Yeah. Question, do you think you'll tell Cove about the $20? Probably not. Knowing me, I would have genuinely forgotten why I got the $20 in the first place.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, no, I'm
sad
not telling
that-
Cove about the $20. His dad gave me $20 to hang out with him because he didn't have any friends since he just moved.
That's just fucking mean.
You can now afford something at the shops. Just one thing, but that was infinitely better than none. Shiloh clapped his hands. Yay! The two of you dashed outside. The promise of sugar buoyed you on to your destination where, breathless but happy, you stared at the overwhelming number of options. You knew what you wanted, but it wasn't just you who had contributed to the funds to get the treat. He seemed to notice your pause.
Aren't you getting an ice cream sandwich?
Shiloh asked as though he was entirely separate from the decision, rather than someone with a stake in the outcome. Do you mind? Shiloh cocked his head to the side.
It was your idea. You should choose.
Oh, this sweet baby boy.
Yeah, Shiloh is like... Shiloh has sidekick energy in him.
Please,
He's
let me
precious.
hug him.
He's precious.
Let me
Also,
hug him.
he is entirely Freckles. I think I said at the start of the stream before you read, like, I kind of want Freckles. Like, I kind of wanted Freckles just because, like, I used to think they were strange as a kid, but now that I'm older, I'm like, dang, Freckles seem cool. What I did on my playthrough was tell Cove and then propose to him. Well, keep that in mind. Try to get him something you both wanted anyway. It wasn't fair for you to be the only one to decide when he'd been a main factor in making this happen. Some of the money came directly from his backpack. What would you like?
All of them. They're so good.
You press forward.
Oh, we don't have enough money for that.
But what do you really like? Popsicles or ice creams? Which is your favorite?
Oh, it's hard to pick. I don't know.
Frustrated, you cut to the heart of the matter. You want me to choose?
Yeah.
And that was that. You got the dessert you wanted originally and hoped Shiloh would actually like it too. Finally, the reward for all your hard work was in your hands. You bit the ice cream sandwich. The chewy chocolate biscuit complemented the creamy vanilla ice cream inside. Oh, we only got vanilla? Come on. I was like, if we could get anything we wanted, surely they had to have, like, a chocolate ice cream sandwich. You held it out to Shiloh so you could take a turn. He shook his head.
You can finish it.
You can finish it.
He didn't want any? After everything he did to help get it? That was weird.
He loves.
No,
He
I'm...
loves you.
It's like, you paid for at least 40% of the sandwich. Even if Shiloh said it was okay, every story you'd ever seen on TV or read in a book said that sharing was caring. You stood your ground even as the treat started to trickle dangerously towards your fingers. It's only fair that you have some. We both bought it.
But you want it more than I do, and getting to play was a lot of fun already. So you can have it. That's more fair.
You held it out to him.
Oh,
I want you to have some even more than I want to finish it. So eat your part. Relenting, Shiloh took the treat and gave it a taste. His eyes lit up.
Thank you.
It's really good. Thank you.
You smiled, pleased with your good deed.
You picked the best one.
Did he mean that? Shiloh was always nice no matter what happened. Even if he hated it, you knew he wouldn't say so. Shallow gives young sibling energy here. It's like young sibling energy plus sidekick energy. And it's precious. Maybe he thought it was gross, and that's the real reason why he didn't want to take some? You had no idea. You studied him as he ate a little more. He had every appearance of enjoying himself. Still weird. The two of you began to head back home as he ate. You walked side by side on the shore in silence, but your thoughts kept drifting to the boy beside you. Why didn't he speak up for himself? It was almost as if Shallow didn't know how to say what he felt, or was too afraid to.
Help! Being compressed.
Oh no. Decision. Younger me would say something much worse.
Really? What would they say?
It was like, of the options presented, younger me would just be like, you thought that was kind of sad, but older me is probably gonna ask, like, are we friends? Actually, to be fair, I think younger me would have asked that as a valid question too, because, like, when I was younger, me and my sister had two entirely different friends groups. So if one of her friends decided to become friends with me, I would probably have that question too. He's the younger brother that just goes with you when you go out with friends purely because he has nothing else to do. A little bit.
Help.
Shallow's eyes open
Help.
wide. What'd you do?
The dog. I'm being compressed.
He wishes to squeeze you with love.
I'm being laid on top of.
Shallow opened his eyes wide, seemingly caught off guard by the blunt question.
Yeah, I think so.
He says that, but friends should be able to talk to each other without being scared. If Shallow wouldn't do that, were you even really friends at all? He rubbed his hands together nervously over your non-reaction.
I'm sorry.
You weren't sure how sorry he could be without knowing what he was even apologizing for, but you shook your head. You didn't do anything. It was true. Shallow hadn't done something mean. He'd gone out of his way to make you happy. That didn't seem like it should be a bad thing, yet it bothered you. I just don't know if you like me. It's like it doesn't matter what I do, you're gonna act the same. I could be anybody and you wouldn't care.
No, I like you. I really, really like you, Ryan. I want to be friends.
Okay. Precious child. He has a yes/no filter, and it's he's like, he wears his personality on his sleeve. Just this is me when I was younger. I said what I meant. I did not hold anything back, and I was like constantly happy and ready to go along with things. Shiloh is legitimately me.
Yes.
You smiled hesitantly at him as his fidgeting ceased, even though you weren't sure if you believed it. Hang on, let me turn down the brightness of my monitor a little bit because I am sitting like really close to it. Even though you weren't sure if you believed him, this was only making things worse. You said that maybe there were all types of friends. If Shallow wasn't able to do things differently, this would have to be alright. Shallow made you unsure about setting a label on the experience of spending the afternoon with him. There have been good times and there have been confusing ones. You were positive of one thing at least. The treat was delicious and that was nice. The sun was low on the horizon as you returned to your neighborhood. There you spotted two very familiar figures up ahead, Lizzie and Cove. You opened your mouth to make your presence known to them just as you saw the tears on Cove's face. You walked straight over, Shiloh at your heels. Once there, you... Yeah, and even young me would ask what happened. Without a time machine, the only way you were going to find out was by asking the witnesses. Lizzie might have done something, but she could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, or even come to Cove's aid. You wanted to hear the story. Cove, what happened?
Ryan, I got yelled at.
He took a deep, steadying breath.
Some grandparents got mad at me.
For those on stream, that is Amanda making the duck sounds.
Oh, sorry.
Quack.
Lizzie jerked her head up in the direction of a nearby house. Your heart sunk. You knew exactly what had happened. Every year, the same mean old couple rented out that condo for the summer. You, Lizzie, and Shiloh knew to stay away from them, but Cove couldn't have. They're like that with everyone. Even your mom struggled to find anything nice to say about them, but the elderly pair particularly took offense to kids. It didn't matter if they were really nice like Cove. Yeah, Lizzie said. Lizzie drew herself up at that. She looked pointedly in your direction. It was helping. That's cool. Is there anything I can do? No, I'm just gonna stay away. I thought there was a secret duck button. No, it's one of the default Discord soundboard things is the duck quacking. Hey, what? I'll make it.
I can play another one. Watch me.
Yeah, that was all me. Okay. Or you could teach them a lesson. There was a devilish glint in her eyes. What? You should ding dong ditch them. Go ring the doorbell and run. It'll be great because they're slow. They'll never catch you. That's dumb. I don't want to go near them ever again.
There's also the fact that they could call the police on you.
Chicken.
You're saying that because you're a cluck chicken.
Cove glared but didn't take the
It's
bait.
not
Lizzie
that
turned
I'm
you.
Chicken, I just don't want to deal with police.
You're not a chicken, are you?
This
You thought
like
they
the
deserved worse. I'm gonna throw a Molotov cocktail into their house in Minecraft.
These old people don't have Minecraft.
Well, I'm gonna buy them Minecraft and blow up their house in Minecraft.
They'll probably throw it in your face, judging from how honoring these old people are.
I never ding-dong ditched anyone as a kid, honestly.
I never did either, but then again, I didn't really interact with my neighbors.
I have a feeling that if I say I avoid them, Shiloh's just gonna do it, because Lizzie's gonna ask him. But honestly, as a kid, I wouldn't do it. Mom and other moms said to stay away from them, so I'm not going to. So I'm not going to bother them. You looked at the house. Beyond those closed doors lurked two beings, rich in years but poor in patience. Maybe they deserved retaliation, maybe they didn't, but that punishment wouldn't be coming from you. It was safer to stay far away from them, especially since Cove took their outburst to heart. I'm not doing it either.
Another chicken to the coop. This is a hen house now.
If we're chickens, you're a lizard, Lizzie. She wagged her tongue in his face.
Still better than a bird brain. Chicken.
You know, the term bird brain is actually, like... Birds are actually one of the smartest animals. Not that I expect kids to know this, but, like, soothe their ass. I mean, verbal harassment is...
You talked over pizza time!
I'm sorry, it will happen in the future. The condo door opened, revealing one of the two culprits. The old man's wizened face was set in a scowl, which was to say he looked exactly like he always did when you saw him. Maybe that was his normal face. What are you old kids doing loitering outside my house? Or maybe he was always just in a terrible mood.
Nothing.
Nothing! You repeated the word as if it was the greatest crime anyone could commit. Nothing good, more like. Get lost!
God, you're...
It wasn't as if he owned the space outside the house, but Cove's eyes, still red from his earlier tears, were wide.
Go touch it! Bitch, we're in hell.
There is no grass!
I'm going to take away your soundboard privileges, young lady.
Okay. I'll stop. For at least 30 minutes.
JB set a timer.
I will then resume quacking, just so you know. Because I like making the noise.
Right. And you thought it would be best to heed the old man's command. Lizzie took off with Shiloh immediately trailing after her without so much as a glance back in your direction. So much for your friendship. He's still friends. You waved your arm at Cove, summoning him to follow you, and ran after Lizzie. The old man's hollers propelled you all from the street to the sanctity of the hill. I don't remember for what and how long, because like I was gonna lurk a touch. Half an hour for Amanda abusing Discord soundboard. Only once you were safe.
I'm restraining myself, thank you very much.
Only once you were safe did you notice the stitch in your chest and the ache of your legs. You flopped down, the blades of grass tickling your face. Lizzie, who had taken the lead in the end, was already lazing on the ground. The four of you took a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the feeling of cool grass against your skin.
Cove.
Hey, Cove.
Cove lifted his head.
I told you there were mean grandparents around here.
Cove rolled his eyes, but decided this wasn't dismissive enough and rolled his whole body away from your sister. Lizzie chose to ignore his response and started chatting to Shiloh, who eagerly joined in the conversation. In the back of your mind, you knew you'd be second fiddle to Shiloh once Lizzie came around. It always went like that.
That's just depressing.
I was like, younger me would feel upset about that. No, older me says it's fine. Shiloh could prefer Lizzie as much as he wanted to. There were other things to attend to anyway. You wriggled closer to Cove. He had calmed down for the most part and was expecting a flower. His fingers pinched the stem and tilted the white petals towards him.
It's a poppy.
Timer set, but you're gonna have to remind me why I set a timer in 30 minutes. Fair enough. Cove glanced at you in acknowledgement, then back to the flower.
And type of poppies on this hill have the name white linen poppy. Mom told me.
And corked a smile.
That's funny.
You ran a finger around the edge of the petals.
It doesn't feel like cloth. You need a lot of them to make anything.
He nodded and released the delicate plant. Evaluation complete.
This is my favorite kind of flower, but I didn't know what it was called. Thanks.
Oh, what the fuck? I wasn't expecting 12 options. The Poppy Hill, he's so young. He's still 8 years old and my friend. Dude, I like roses, buttercups, snapdragon, hibiscus. I feel like younger me didn't have a favorite flower, but I like hibiscus flowers currently.
I like hibiscus flowers. They're from Hawaii, just like my mommy. And they're pretty like her, too.
Yeah, and you're pretty like both of them.
Thanks.
Oh shit. He called me pretty. You moved onto your back with a small smile and looked at the darkening sky. The blanket of clouds reminded you he's still 8, and my character, thought I was still straight. He's still 8 and I'm still 8, and I'm years away from having my pansexual awakening, but like, he's gonna speed it along. The blanket of clouds reminded you of a thick throw you curled under on... Oh, a thick throw blanket you curled under on cold rainy days. You wondered if the clouds would be as soft. They lazily floated on by, splitting from each other, merging and morphing into new shapes.
What do I see in the clouds? I see an alpaca.
It's a fluffy alpaca in the sky. You nudge Cove and point to it.
Can you see the alpaca?
Cove joined you in gazing skywards.
Whoa.
It's more like a llama.
Hey. He chuckled at your reaction.
There's no alpaca in the sky.
No dragon in the clouds. Liar! All the sun's light faded from the sky and the moon rose higher. Lizzie got to her feet, dusting strands of grass from her bare legs, and surveyed her surroundings. The ocean, visible from the crest of the hill, beckoned with every sweep of the tide.
Let's go to the beach.
There was no argument from the other two. Shiloh was still Shiloh, and Cove would never say no to going to the shore. He was a child of the sea. You. There's always at least a dragon or wizard in the clouds. I rarely see wizards in the clouds. I don't know what you're looking at. I want to be at beach. I love swim at beach. So you eagerly join the others in descending the hill down to the water.
I can't swim.
You stepped onto the sand for the second time that day, but it felt different at night. The beach was nearly quiet at this hour. Abandoned sandcastles and footsteps in the sand, too big to belong to any of you, were the only indication of how busy it had been only hours earlier. 4 of you kicked shoes off and removed socks and walked along the water's edge. The waves tickled your feet.
Wonder what would happen if you tried to take a bath in the ocean, with shampoo and everything.
That would be bad for the fish.
Jeez.
And say anyone would do it. Geez, don't have to be so serious about everything.
You're the one who asked what would happen. That is what would happen. It'd hurt the fishes.
I like bubble baths at home. They're a lot of fun.
Me too.
Bubble baths are luxurious.
You'd never heard Lizzie use that word before.
Mommy loves to have bubbles in her bath. She'll turn the lights off and have candles. I'm gonna do that next time. Hey, when's your mom coming to pick you up anyway? Not for a while. She's busy.
What about your dad? How come you never talk about him? Nobody does.
Didn't you know you're not supposed to ask something like that? Why would somebody want to talk about something they never talk about?
You kept your eyes on the ground, watching your toes get swallowed by waves. Even if Shiloh never seemed upset when this topic came up, it made you feel awkward just for having both of your moms.
It's okay. I'm like Lizzie and Ryan. I don't have a dad. But I don't have 2 moms. I just have 1. She's really great.
Oh. Sorry, I only have 1 now too. My mom isn't here.
She's back home. It's just my dad with me.
Sorry.
Oh.
Oh my god, you can't just ask people why they're white. Cove is snarky little pug. He's a realist. He's blunt and a realist.
Oh, I never had a dad or anything, so I don't feel bad. It's really sad that your mom is gone.
Cove nodded. He joked about Shiloh's mom getting together with Cove's dad. You didn't have anything comforting to say, so you tried to lighten the mood, said. Hey, since you both only have 1 parent, Cove's dad could marry Shiloh's mom, then you 2 would be brothers. He gave Cove so much sass in the first stage. Cove stopped abruptly, his face set hard.
My dad isn't going to do that. Shiloh tugged the rim of his hat. Neither is my mom. She doesn't want to marry anybody.
I told you people this wasn't a good thing to talk about.
Your plan backfired and the mood soured even more. You didn't know what to do.
Silence broke with a splash as Lizzie kicked in your direction. Cold water and sodden sand splattered across your legs.
Lizzie giggled, foot still outstretched from the kick.
Cove joined in, striking the incoming waves to make a splash of his own. Yellow scurried out of Cove's spray zone with a grin. I retaliate! Use your foot to smack the water pooling around you, sending an arc of sea foam flying back to her onto your sister. You laughed as she sputtered, some of the salty seawater having landed in her mouth. She spat out.
Yuck!
As he chased you, intent on revenge. You dashed up and down the coast, taking it in turns to be the predator and the prey, as well as joining forces to take down Shiloh or Cove. Lances were silently forged and wordlessly broken. Everything was fair game in war. What a line to feature in a dating sim game. Especially since we're like kids at this point. Everything was fair game in war. Jella's beef exclamation was drowned out by the biggest splash yet, caused by him falling face first onto the ground. That would have been bad enough without the wave that followed, cascading over his prone body. Shallow sat up, shaking his head like a dog coming in from the rain as you all hurried over to check on him. Saber splashed into his head and his soaked clothes clung. If there was any part of him that was still dry, you couldn't see it. It's not really a dating sim, this isn't really a roster to pick from. Yeah, you're right, this isn't a dating sim. That was crazy.
You okay? Yeah, my foot got stuck and I fell over.
You Dumbo.
Well, the idea of saltwater still kind of perplexes me as someone who has the Great Lakes as the nearest body of water. Understandable?
Way to go, Shiloh, you Dumbo. I'ma help him up. No, didn't take your outstretched hand. After a moment, you dropped it. Lizzie was too busy snickering to notice, and held her hand out to Shiloh, too. He reached over and took it. Slowly, he started to pull himself from the ground. I get that it's a thing, but that's so much shitty water. It's not shitty water. Marine life has adapted to salt water. It's just awful that we can't make use of it without dehydrating. Then he slipped on the slick sand, dragging him and Lizzie down just in time for another wave to hit. The water rolled over them.
Sorry.
What are the odds of that happening twice in a row? You thought they must be low, but there's no way Shiloh would do something like that on purpose, then pretend that it was an accident, especially not to Lizzie. Even if your friendship with Shiloh felt unclear, he did at least like her a lot. Lizzie was his favorite, right? Smiling boldly, Lizzie extracted herself from the ground and wiped a streak of sand from her cheek. She didn't intend to let this embarrass her. Shiloh got up again as well, this time without incident. He still looked like a drowned puppy, but that didn't stop Cove laughing at the two of them. With that, it was time to call it a day. 4 of you made your journey back home, leaving a trail of wet footsteps and sand in your wake. Damp clothes may have weighed down some of the group, but your spirits were high. Your arms swung side to side as a cool breeze flowed past. There they are, Mom and Mommy. Your moms are outside chatting to Cove's dad.
We're back.
Your mom's faces fell as they took in the state you roll in, ranging from messy to soaked.
No.
Elizabeth, is that all you have to say for yourself? You brought half the beach back with you. You certainly did. What's Marigold going to do when she comes home to get Shiloh? Is that how you want him to be for the long drive home? Cold and filthy?
Lizzie Preston turned sulky over the scolding. Being the oldest could be fun, but also meant she was the first to get in trouble when something went wrong. Mr. Holden, on the other hand, chuckled as he ruffled old Cove's matted hair. You've been out making memories, bucko? I'm glad you came back home with your friends. Cove used his slightly moist cast arm to push his dad off. Mr. Holden's eyes widened when he noticed even that had gotten wet. Now he was worried, too. I think they could have found a less risky way to spend time and just had as much fun. That might be right. Kids, what can you do? Kids, what can you do? Come on, Cove. Let's get you cleaned up and dried off. We wouldn't want that cast to have to be reset. Cove winced at the thought.
That is a
Okay.
Attaboy.
That is a fair point. Casts getting reset are a bitch. From what I've been told. I've never actually broken a bone.
I've never broken a bone either. I've almost died. Amanda knows this. I got a stick in my eye when I was a child. Well, not in my eye.
I did not know this.
Oh, that's a story for another day. Or at least off stream. Mr. Holden casually bent down and plucked Cove up off the ground, ultimately holding Cove against his chest. Sand was already transferring from Cove onto him, but that didn't seem to bother Mr. Holden. Cove protested being carried, but only got a reassuring pat on the back for his trouble.
Take care.
Good night, Cove. Thank you for the talk, Cliff.
Good night, insert name family. And Shiloh, too. Resigned to his fate, Cove twisted his body in his dad's arms in order to turn around and wave goodbye. Smiling, you returned a tiny wave of your own.
Fine.
Well, we better do what we can to fix you guys up, too. Come on, everybody inside. I want you to march straight to the downstairs bathroom. Yes, Mom. Okay, Lizzie's Mom.
No, motherfucker, you hose those kids outside.
I don't think they have a hose outside if they're saying go to the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, that's a fair point.
After 20 hours, feels weird that Cove's dad could just pick him up. Yeah. Don't worry about stopping to wipe your feet on the mat this time. That won't do much good tonight. Sitting on an old beach towel your mommy had found, you waited in the hall. Until you were less sandy, you weren't allowed to go to your room or walk around the house. But you did get to eat a sandwich for dinner there.
My mother would not let me. My mother would never.
But you did get to eat a sandwich for dinner there. It felt like an outdoor picnic. It had been decided that Shiloh would wash first and borrow some of your clothes. He was already finished and packed away in his mom's car. Miss Fields had come to collect him a while ago. It was a bit of a funny experience seeing him without that hat on for once. Lizzie, being much more soaked than you, got to go in the tub next. It wasn't a bubble bath as she had hoped. This is a no fun allowed cleanup session. At least that's what she claimed. Not much longer and it would be your turn. When the bath was done, you'd have to go right to bed. After a day like this, though, you were glad there weren't going to be any further events. Drifting off to sleep sounded like a good idea.
But yeah.
Now we're on to the next part of the stuff. Cove wasn't able to do many things that summer. When you, him, and Shiloh sat outside on the shoreline one bright morning, you could tell he wanted to be in the water. Someday I might try a playthrough where my character is just infatuated with Cove. I mean, you do you. There's no way he could go swimming anytime soon, not with his cast. The waves washed a single shell to shore, glittering in blue. Another reminder of the places he couldn't go. What you'd heard about Cove's old life so far, in tiny pieces and fragments, you could tell that he'd do anything to be able to get the cast off. The possibilities of what he might get up to made you anxious. You thought about how his summer last year must have been totally different from this, with his old home and his mom and dad. But now he was here, with you and Shiloh and Lizzie and everyone else, and he couldn't even go in the sea. I mean, he could probably stand in the water, he just probably couldn't go, like, too deep. Have to make sure his arm stayed above water. This town wasn't bad, it had all your favorite things in it, but sitting there on the same beach you'd grown up on, you couldn't understand that not everybody felt the same way about Sunset Bird as you did. You watched him from the corner of your eye quietly as he finally said aloud what you had been pondering. I wish I could go in.
The water?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You'll be able to do it again. You're gonna be able to do it soon.
Cove only sighed response. Apparently soon wasn't soon enough.
It's so pretty, the ocean.
Mm-hmm. And huge. There could be anything out there, like mermaids.
Yeah.
Mermaids aren't real. And I'm not gonna dampen his spirits. Young me would probably say nothing on the cast.
Me too.
Obviously not interested in hearing much more of your input on the situation. Cove turned back to the water. Wait, this is when the mermaid stuff started? Okay, no spoilers, JP. I'm curious about mermaid stuff now. But as he looked away, something about Shiloh's slow, careful old movements got his eye. Let me do one thing real quick. There we go. Probably shouldn't say this is a visual novel about cute boys if we're gonna be staying in the kid age for a while. Mermaids don't appear in the game, just the talk of them. Okay. But as he looked away, something about Shiloh's slow, careful movements caught his eye. Hey, are you building a sandcastle?
Sort of. I was only playing around while you were talking. I'm listening.
Maybe I could too. I've only made big piles before.
Nothing really special. I'm sure you'll be good at it right away.
Well, how do you do it then? Shiloh's cheeks lit up. You could tell he was a little bit uncomfortable to have Cove's expectant stare on him. Where Cove has wavy eyebrows. I saw. I'll play too. I don't know if I've ever made a legit sandcastle.
Okay.
Okay.
He put his hands back to his seashells and sand and nodded.
I don't do a lot. Here's how I like to get a house started.
Shiloh, focusing more intently than you'd ever seen him, guided the two of you through the process. It didn't take long for the three of you to each have humble structures prepared.
That's all, kind of. You can do anything now, like make it bigger, add some seashells, carve a pretty pattern. I bet you'll have great ideas.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it bigger. Mine is gonna be a real castle.
Cool.
Cool. This is gonna be a house.
Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decided to make... try and make a mansion? Young me would probably have the ambition to try to make a whole entire mansion. Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decided to do what Lizzie would do and design a mansion. The better part of the next hour was spent focusing on your work. The boys were the same. Even Shiloh didn't sneak as many peeks at everyone else as you usually did. Get back. See you in a bit. You finished shaping before either of them did, glancing up from what you built. It seemed like you got done so fast because they already searched around for extra decorations. Shiloh grabbed most of the really interesting stuff, and Cove had a lot of the shells, but there were still options. First thing you reached for was a... Amanda, remind me, sea glass is just glass that has fallen into the ocean and been whittled down by, like, the ocean currents, right?
It looks pretty rough. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was like, young me would definitely try and pick up a whole piece of glass, and my parents would probably stop me. It was the best fit for
Sea
you.
glass is just... Yeah, it's just been whittled down. It's really dull. You're fine.
Okay. Sea glass is tumble polished glass. Okay. It was the best fit for your mansion, you decided. It was see-through and sparkly. So you tucked it away somewhere secure inside, barely poking out to make sure it didn't get lost. Pleased with your result, you finally took a proper look around that wasn't focused on the sand itself. Both Cove and Shiloh seemed super immersed still. You knew you could probably sneak a peek at either one's work. Let's check out Cove's. He said he's building a castle. The castle Cove had built looked surprisingly tidy, especially for someone in a cast. He must have worked really hard. He wasn't even finished digging the huge gaping moat in front, but it was already enormous. You got the sense from the enthusiasm he was digging with that the doctor was probably going to find a bunch of sand when he finally removed the pink plaster. Silence was unbroken. What's on top of your Shiloh? You peeked closer and discovered something shiny sticking out of Shiloh's sand chimney.
Oh, it's just a gum wrapper. It looks like smoke.
Neat.
That's good. That's smart. You should be an architect. I'm trying to envision that in my head. And that does look kind of cool.
You should be an architect. You'd be good at it, Shiloh.
Shiloh smiled without a word. And that was that for the current topic. Ryan, can I see what you did? Sure. He scooted just a bit nearer and began surveying your work. All you really knew about mansions was that they were supposed to be big, so you'd gone really big. It was the size of the country club that Lizzie played golf at, compared to Cove and Shiloh's buildings. Probably even bigger. Shiloh quickly decided to jump in the new conversation.
Hey Ryan, what did you do?
I made a mansion. Cove scowled for a moment. Apparently the anger was actually still there after his argument with Lizzie more than a week ago.
Looks great. Your house is so big.
I guess mansions are just really... Tell Shiloh to be an architect and 30 years later he runs the top architecture firm.
Huh? Is being a house bad?
No.
No, but we each made our own place. Nobody is the same.
I think we are.
Cove raised an eyebrow at that. If something is the only one of that thing, that makes it special.
Yeah, for sandcastles and stuff.
People too. My dad always says how everybody is their own man, a real individual.
I don't think I'm very special.
Why?
Why not? Nobody else is you. Shiloh shook his head.
Isn't that different?
The beat passed between the two. Cove then looked down at his own work again.
Okay.
He didn't seem to be bothered leaving the disagreement hanging there. Cove had other things on his mind. My dad tried to get me to make sandcastles the first time we came to this beach. I didn't want to. Shiloh needs a hug or something. He does. Cove trailed off. Again, there was another moment of silence. Shiloh shifted and opened his mouth to say something, but Cove spoke up before he could. You didn't think he noticed that Shiloh was going to talk. Hey, do you know what happened when your moms met my dad, Ryan? You blinked, not expecting the question. You thought hard.
I wasn't there. They didn't tell me. I just remember what happened when I met your dad.
Forgot how broody Cove could be. Mr. Holden had been a weird stranger then. Well, he was still kind of strange. No other parent acted like him, but you knew him better at this point. Now that you thought about it, it made a lot of sense that Cove's dad talked to him about people being unique. You were pulled from your thoughts when Cove continued.
Oh. Well, I was there. I don't think my mom has met your dad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she hasn't. Ryan's parents and my dad met the same day I met him. I'm gonna say what happened.
Shiloh frowned to himself, ducking his head. His hat cast a shadow over his face. You could still tell he was upset at not being included in Cove's topic of choice. That was kind of boring for him, though giving people their own turn to say the things they want is important too. Oh. Don't make me choose. I want Shiloh to express himself. This is the only time I'm dropping a save. Cove could tell it to me another day.
Huh? We were talking. Just not right now.
We were talking, just not right now. I'm talking to you. He can listen. That expression barely flickered at the words. He still looked put off. Cove continued like the interruption hadn't happened, and he was determined to tell the tale.
When we moved here, we didn't bring a lot of our things. Only some stuff that would fit in Dad's car. We didn't even get a moving truck. I sat in there while Dad brought it all inside.
Saves come my teeth. You don't want to see how many cheeky little saves I have in this game.
I didn't want to get out because I knew Dad would make me look around at the new house. I really didn't want to do that.
His lips twisted it into a frown as he recalled that.
Then I saw your moms. They were in a car too and stopped at your house. I guess they were coming back from somewhere or something. My dad noticed. He waved his hand, then went over to the front of your house where he started talking to them. I don't know what they said. I couldn't hear it. But he couldn't see me anymore since I was looking the other way. So I opened the car door and left. I just wanted to get away and went behind the houses. I found those hills there, the ones we met for the first time.
Cove nodded, then stared at you. You stared back. He didn't go on to say anything more.
Is that it?
Cove's brow wrinkled like he didn't understand why you were surprised.
Huh?
That's all that happened.
Young me would probably be snarky, but I don't want to be snarky.
Thanks for telling me. You're welcome.
Even if not much happened, you weren't going to complain about knowing the story. Chad's mouth twisted in a scowl of disbelief, but he said nothing.
Why'd you bring that up anyway?
There was a slight shrug on Cope's shoulders.
Wow.
I was thinking about it because of the sandcastle. Maybe remember when I moved to here. Dad showed me the beach first, before we went back to the car to unpack. He was really excited about it for some reason.
Cove's brows furrowed a little more as he quietly raked his hands through the sand.
I get it.
Thought maybe Mr. Holden wasn't that excited about the beach and was instead hoping Cove might be. But the line of conversation had come to an end. Even Cove was done with it. Some other topic had popped into his head. Dell fidgeting and comforting in the sand had made Cove aware of his presence again. You looked at each other and you could only wonder what this might be about.
Hey, Shiloh. Yeah? Why are you always turning so red, even when nothing is happening?
Clearly startled, he jerked back. Neither you or Shiloh had expected that to be how he got included in the conversation again.
I don't know, I guess. Okay, it's kind of weird.
Dal's eyes were wide with embarrassment and his lip twitched, and he was blushing even harder than before. Maybe it wasn't only this. Perhaps it was simply the last straw, but it was a big deal to Shiloh. He didn't... That was just a little queer, don't bully him. We love the oddities around here. He didn't look sad. He seemed almost panicked. You weren't sure if he was about to cry or run away or what, but you soon got an answer.
Why do you wear glasses? Most kids don't wear glasses. And nobody is named Cove.
Who asked you to come?
Who asked you to come? It's probably just your dad bugging Ryan's family some more because you don't have anyone else who will ever play with you. Oh.
Cove blinked. The tension on the beach was suddenly uncomfortable in a way you didn't know how to even mention. It didn't seem like the kind of thing he would get upset over. That you had never known what kind of thing would bother Shiloh. And queer as a nod, I forget if he's like... Alright, Amanda, it's been half an hour. JP's timer's going off.
I'm sorry.
Me too. I was just wondering.
Yeah, let's build another sandcastle. Today's gonna be over soon. Man, you're right. The sun is going down so fast.
I went back to making more sand buildings, but the whole mood had changed. Bella's cheeriness was clearly gone, and Cove looked as confused as ever about why the other boy had blown up. He stayed uncomfortable the rest of the afternoon, right up to the moment that Shiloh's mom appeared at the beach to take him home. At least you tried to do something to resolve it, though, and it seemed like it helped. Even though Shiloh's smile when he waved goodbye to Cove wavered, it stayed as bright as ever for you. That had to count for something. But with Shiloh gone and the sun going down, you knew it was time for you and Cove to head back to your own houses. Followed him as he made his way out of the sand. The walk home was quiet. You passed by familiar landmarks, shoes thumping against the sidewalk in near perfect unison. Cove was clearly caught up in thinking about something. Well, ask him. The prospect of asking made you nervous, but you did anyway. Hey, is everything okay? Oh, I was just wondering. Cole fell silent for a few more seconds and sighed. Why'd Shiloh act like that? When I said he was read a lot. But, I mean, my guess is he is just very embarrassed about it. He gets embarrassed. Embarrassed, but I didn't say anything that bad. It might have upset him anyway? I guess. I can get it. Why he would do that. Sometimes I get really mad, too. Despite seemingly coming to a conclusion... He's Shiloh, I don't fucking know. Despite seemingly coming to a conclusion, Cove's mood was still sour. Hey, Ryan? Was Shiloh telling the truth?
God damn it, why is there a fucking character limit on this?
I don't know.
No, I'm searching for an anime that I want to fucking watch in the... Why is there a character limit on this engine? Titles are really long!
Heck if I know. His gaze left yours as he dug the sole of his shoe into the ground. He looked oddly vulnerable for a second. Character... Does my dad make you hang out with me? I know he talks to your moms about that a lot. An uncomfortable weight settled into your chest at the question. You liked spending time with Cove. You didn't have to think about it. You couldn't help feeling guilty. Cove still didn't know what happened when you met Mr. Holden. But how are our gays gonna get along? Nobody's making me spend time with you. Cole's shoulders relaxed. You haven't even noticed that he had tensed up. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Anyway, I didn't think you were pretending. And just wanted to make sure it was okay is all.
Thanks.
Thanks for telling me.
Your throat tightened. It was hard to meet Cole's earnest gaze again. Keeping secrets was hard.
Yeah.
By now, the two of you were on the sidewalk near your houses. It was time to part ways. Dropping a save. Don't overwrite the save. I want to give him a hug. You stepped forward and wrapped your arms around him tightly. You turned your head, resting your cheek on his shoulder. Joe stood there awkwardly with his hands outside. He wasn't much of a hugger, but you didn't get the impression he was unhappy that you were. Forehead kiss him goodbye. Not yet. Bye, Cove. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, bye, Ron.
Now what if I just playfully nudge him in the shoulder? Reach over and give Cove a fond push forward.
Ryan,
Bye.
could you mute your stream for a second so the stream does not hear the question I'm about to fucking ask? Get flagged.
2 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty, sorry about that. He laughed a little and playfully pushed your hand back. He didn't mind a bit of rowdiness at all. Bye. Then you jogged towards your house. When you look back, you saw Cove making his way back home too. As if he felt your eyes
it's on
on him,
here.
he turned around, he waved. You did too.
It's on here, but for some fucking reason.
Alright, I'm curious now, but I won't pry.
What is this
It's...
thing? It says
It's...
it's still
nothing.
38 episodes.
It's nothing, JB. It's nothing worth being concerned about. You still felt a little unsure with what you were supposed to do about the deal Cove's dad had offered. You didn't want to say something bad or something you shouldn't. You had no idea how Cove would take it either. It would be terrible if it made him feel bad. What if he didn't want to play with you anymore? You might change your mind sometime, but there's always tomorrow after all. But for now, it was definitely something that you keep to yourself. Final look, you went inside your house. And now for the final thing. Probably before we end the stream. Because I don't know how long this is gonna be.
Alright, tonight we're going to catch fireflies.
And this blunt declaration from your sister, you looked up from your macaroni and cheese dinner. Fireflies were a familiar sight over summer, coming out on warm nights to dance through the sky. Tonight was particularly balmy. You knew there were bound to be a ton of them around.
Oh, you are you?
Seems like you're getting close to the end of the chapter. I guess we'll finish this chapter, and then I'll probably have another chapter just because I like to finish games on stream. We'll have another chapter where we, actually finish this story. Yeah, we're gonna catch fireflies. You rock lightly from side to side in your seat, always excited for your after-dinner activity. Catching fireflies was a great way to spend a summer evening, and you could already envision the little lightning bugs drifting through the darkened sky.
That's a great idea, Lizzie.
Can't we miss his insert name? Oh, this is gonna keep me tripped up for a while. Shallow tapped his fork against the table excitedly. You see why I got sucked into this, though, right? It is just, again, I'm not into I don't play a lot of visual novels, but like, this is nice. Joe tapped his fork against the table excitedly, his face lighting up as he looked at Lizzie. It was unusual for Shiloh to still be here. Like always, his mom had to bring him over really early in the morning before her job started. But normally she would have picked him up by now. She called before dinner to let your moms know she'd be late. You didn't hear why. Probably more work things. You thought maybe getting to hang out with Shiloh for longer is what made Lizzie want to keep running around outside. Staying at home and watching TV was never an option for her with guests over. That's why you were pretty sure she'd get your moms to agree.
Well, it's already so dark out there.
Lizzie gave Mom the best puppy dog eyes she could, slowly spooning mac and cheese into her mouth while you waited there for their response.
There.
Let them go. Nights like this don't happen every day. Your parents exchanged a look, then Mom eventually sighed and nodded back.
Yes!
Along with Lizzie's cheers, you threw your arms up in triumph, but waited until you'd finished chewing to say anything because you knew it was rude to talk with your mouth full.
Fine.
Fine. So make sure you stay on the hill behind our house with all the poppies, okay?
Duh.
Mom. That's where most of them are.
The idea had only just been planted in your head, but already you could just picture all the glowing lights spreading out. The glowing lights spread out in front of you, like the fairies from the bedtime stories Mommy reads sometimes. All too quickly, it became a race to see who could finish their food first.
No choking at the dinner table now. That's right, if someone died, we'd have to cancel the Firefly trip after all.
Mom said it like a joke, but you knew they were both telling you kids to slow down. Shiloh did immediately. When you glanced at Lizzie, you saw her still eating faster than she should.
Elizabeth?
Jeez.
No one is gonna die, sheesh.
Knock at the door interrupted Mom before she could no doubt scold your sister.
I'll get it.
Your big sister jumped out of her seat and ran over to the door, pulling it open without even looking out the window to see who it was.
Huh?
You shifted in your seat to try and get a glimpse of the unexpected guest.
Hi.
Good evening, Cove. Your mommy had already walked to the door by the time you managed to see past Shiloh's flappy hat. A big smile stretched across your face. When you lifted your hand and waved, Cove's pink cast went up to return it shortly after. It didn't matter why he was there. It meant he could join you all in catching fireflies. Then, for a few seconds, Cove said nothing. He only stood there and looked up at your mommy with a face almost like he was considering turning around and leaving.
My dad told me to drop this off because I guess he borrowed it from you.
Cove took a familiar screwdriver from out of his large side pocket, eyes now dropped to the floor.
We left ours back home when we moved. Great, thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Here, why don't you come inside for a bit? Lizzie crossed her arms and lifted her chin. Cove shrugged and Mom stood from the table too.
I'll give your dad a call to let him know you got here alright.
Cove shuffled fully inside, his eyes remaining on the ground. Mommy closed the door behind him.
Hi, Cove.
Shiloh gave Cove a friendly smile while waving by holding up his hand and opening and closing his fingers. Cove nodded in response. Cove at this point feels like he could become one of Batman's kids with how moody and brooding he is. You should come outside with us if you want to. From the corner of your eye, you can see Lizzie glaring at you for mentioning the excursion to an outsider. Trying not to meet their gaze, you looked at Cove. Whatever Lizzie thought of him, he wasn't exactly a stranger anymore. We're gonna catch fireflies on the hill out back. You said that with a smile, hoping Cove would want to come.
Yeah.
I could do that. I've never caught one before.
It's too bad he didn't have a chance before now. The fireflies weren't out when he first moved in, and there must have not been anywhere he used to live.
We can't go until after dinner.
After she pointed out, Lizzie walked back to the table and took her seat. There wasn't much left on her plate. Since this was very true, you decided to finish up your own stuff as well. Both stepped closer and eyed what was on the menu for your family's meal. Have you eaten yet?
Yeah, my dad and I ate earlier. What'd you have?
Eggs. The clipped one-word answer seemed to discourage Shiloh from asking any more questions. his eyes slowly wandered back to the last scraps of food on his plate. Her phone call with Cove's dad must have ended because your mom came back into the room.
Okay.
Cove, your dad said you could stay for a while if you like, but he's going to come get you before it gets too much later. Sure.
Fun.
Oh, fun. This'll be so nice.
As you polished off the meal, you hoped it would be too. The three of you all finished eating shortly after, and Lizzie led the way outside.
Remember, don't stray too far. It's fine, Mom.
Shallow trailed so closely after Lizzie he was nearly stepping on her heels. Cove hesitated at the door. He smiled lightly at Cove, gesturing for him to follow. After a moment, he did.
Bye.
Hi, children. The two of you were a good 10 or 15 feet behind Lizzie and Shiloh by the time you walked outside. You pushed the door shut behind you, watching their figures get further and further away.
You're so slow, Ryan. We don't have all night.
You started to run when you heard Lizzie's voice calling you, but paused when you saw Cove still walking at a relaxed pace.
I'ma keep him company.
He fell behind, sidling up next to him, matching his stride. He noticed right away.
It's okay.
You can go ahead if you want. You smile and shake your head. After a short while, you two reach the hill behind the house. Fireflies were out in full force, floating on the breeze, their gentle glow winking in and out and creating an almost magical effect. Lizzie had already climbed to the top, and Shallow was spinning in circles somewhere around the middle.
Wow.
Wow.
Shallow took a moment to come over and welcome the both of you to the hill.
Hi, guys. Really great out, huh? See how many there are? Yeah.
Firefly danced through the air, landing on Cove's sea green head. I would giggle with him. Covering your mouth with the hand, the sound escaped you, and Cove looked at you in confusion.
What?
You gestured to his head, and he reached up, making the firefly dart away. Cove jumped and followed after the glow.
Oh.
If I remember correctly, there was a view of this game saying it was too woke for having gay moms and a main character with autism and shit, but like, it had been over 100 hours played, so like, somebody was lying to themselves about enjoying the game. Yeah, I generally don't understand why people enjoy things out of hatred, or why people watch things that they do out of hatred. Like, if you don't like something, stop watching it.
Oh, look! Lizzie has one! That's amazing!
Shallow ran to the highest point of the hill, making sure not to lose his hat or backpack along the way. Hey, watching is still watching. Yeah. It's like, I bet you that person bought the DLCs. You hummed as the group divided and conquered, shifting your gaze to the dozens of other fireflies sailing around. The game was on. Oh god. Why is this an option? Do I have bandages? Nah, well, the DLC just to see if there was any less woke. Nah, I feel like there's more woke in the DLC. If anyone close by, you approach it with assassin-like stealth, crouching down to make yourself seem like less of a threat. Slowly dragging one foot in front under the other, you crept towards it, arms outstretched. You close your hands around the little glowing orb, careful not to crush it. Firefly landed in your palm, almost docile, and you stared down at your prize in delight. Its tiny legs tickled your skin, and you giggled at the sensation. Cove kept up with his own target, but when he tried to grab it, his pink cast waved awkwardly through the air, foiling his effort to clap his hands around the firefly. Cove watched it vanish into thin air with a dissatisfied expression on his face. Try again. You walked up beside him and gave him an encouraging smile. Did you say you had bandages when you made your character? I haven't seen that before. No, as far as I know, I didn't give my character bandages. And if I was a klutzy kid, I was also the type of kid that, like, didn't keep bandages on and picked at scabs. You walked up beside him and gave him an encouraging smile. Did you catch one? You nodded and Cove gave up his hunt for the moment, coming closer and peering at the insect still crawling across your palm. You held out your hand and he leaned closer, eyes widening a tad behind his glasses. Cove remained hypnotized by the little bug as he inched his hand closer to yours. Ultimately, he settled his fingers lightly over top of the ones you were holding open. It tingled. I'ma let the firefly crawl to his hand. Totally just not trying to hold hands. I might be forgetting that choice because it feels like something that would just blur in the moment. You were so nervous you thought that you'd stopped breathing, but no matter what you did. But no matter what, you didn't want to scare the shiny treasure. Firefly noticed the new connection crawl up onto Ko's hand. He quietly gasped. It worked. Yeah, you got one. Those lips turned up in a slow smile as his eyes shined brighter than the bug. Thanks, Ryan. With a laugh, he gave the palm of your hand a friendly smack, performing an awkward low five. Startled by the extreme movement, the tiny light disappeared before you could even blink. Your firefly was gone.
Sorry.
Oops. Sorry. That's okay. I couldn't keep it forever.
You're right.
Right. Bugs have to stay outside. Let's get another. Let's go. Uh-huh, we can work together. His face broke out in a wide grin. We'll get a bunch. With a new vigor, you ran out into the hill. You're not sure how much time had passed while you were in the thick of it. All you could focus on was the adventure at hand. No critter was safe from your grasp. At first, you tried to keep a tally of how many you caught, but once the number grew higher than 10, you had no more fingers left to count with. You were having the time of your life, racing up and down the hill with the crash of the ocean and the sound of everyone's laughter echoing in the background.
Ryan!
Ryan, this way. You follow the sound of Cove's voice to the top of the hill. What the fuck is this? It's a cute as heck visual novel. JB redeemed it. Watching as he stretches his arms out in front of him, reaching with his fingers and only narrowly missing his target. Cove and you took turns trying to scare fireflies in the direction of the other. You showed him some techniques you had learned, like how to cup your hands correctly, and he listened attentively before trying for himself. I heard it say your actual name. Yeah, the game said by default the only name that can be said is Jamie, but there is a voice expansion DLC that, like, adds a crap ton more character names.
I am making pizza!
Congrats. There were a few times where you almost ran into each other, giggling as you dove to the side at the last moment. Luckily, disaster was avoided each time. It was an overall huge success with the both of you catching multiple fireflies each. Eventually, the fireflies began to thin out and your energy started to lapse. You decided it was time to call out the hunt. Cove didn't complain. He breathed in heavy and his face seemed really flushed. That was fun. A lot of fun. You smiled at him broadly, happy that he had enjoyed the activity. Yeah, it was.
Come on!
Ryan, Cove, get up here. We're gonna have a race. The shouting caught you off guard. It had been quite a while since you heard from Lizzie or Shiloh. You glanced over to see them both standing on top of the hill again, Lizzie beckoning to you with quick hand gestures. If she was like that, you knew there wasn't much room for disagreement. Up the incline you went, from the corner of your eye, you saw Cove was coming up as well. You didn't care for Lizzie a lot, so you thought he might just be intrigued by the idea of a race.
Go!
Hi. Cove, you can't roll down the hill, you might hurt your arm again. You'll be the referee for the rest of us. As Lizzie pointed out, Cove froze in place. Oh, it was that kind of race. He frowned down at his cast. That was the second time it got in his way tonight. What? Yeah, you'll watch and see who gets to the bottom first. That's important. Got it? I guess. The cast was sturdy. If he was careful, he could have done it. Lizzie might have just been looking for a reason to make somebody else be the referee. But it was already decided.
Young Mia would do the race. I'm saving here to come back later. What happens if I...
Really?
Oh, wait, hang on. I want to do the other option first. I want to go down the race. Oh, when you load a save, the fireflies freeze in place. Satisfied with this, Lizzie moved to lay down and Shiloh did the same. Cove stood slightly to the side to get a better vantage point. Seemed like he was taking his newfound referee duty seriously.
Countdown!
You quickly got into position as well, resting on your side in the grass and tucking your arms close to your chest. 3, 2, 1, go! 3 of you took off, letting gravity do the work and rolling at high speed towards the bottom. You squeezed your eyes shut, a delighted laugh leaving you and consequently allowing a few blades of grass into your mouth. You sputtered, reaching up to wipe them away. It threw off your balance and sent you careening sideways.
Oof! Ah!
Everyone started too close together because the slight turn made you, then Shiloh, and then Lizzie collapsed into a heap. You tumbled down the last few feet in a pile. Shiloh's elbow was in your stomach, and you're pretty sure Lizzie's hair was in your mouth, but you had survived. Perhaps it wouldn't have been safe for Cove after all. You could hear laughing in the distance. When you opened your eyes, you saw the starry sky above, and Cove still on top of the hill, staring down at you three with an amused look on his face. Hey, cool crash! I think Shiloh was the first one at the bottom.
That didn't count. We need a redo.
Kids, it's time to come in.
No!
You sighed, not knowing if it was from contentment or exasperation, and closed your eyes again. It had gotten late and was beginning to feel just a bit chilly as you made your way out of the hills, but the cold in the air hadn't dampened anyone's spirits. The four of you walked back home together, side by side down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening. You can't win just because it was your idea, Liz. Exactly. I feel like that's the lesson she's gonna need to learn later, is like, she can't always win and get her way. The four of you walked back home together side by side down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening, with each person trying to prove that they were the one who caught the most fireflies. You knew that whoever really did catch the most didn't matter much anyways. All that mattered was that you all had a good time, which, judging by the smiles on everyone's faces, you did. Yay. Like I said, I'll do the DLC either on a future stream or like on my own time. But for now, I believe summer has ended. I'm sure. Also, Cheyenne, these are my two moms. I'll never get tired of that view. You stood beside your moms, Lizzie, and Cove as the five of you watched the sun dip into the ocean somewhere far, far away. You like to imagine it cooling off in the water, resting itself before getting ready to shine brightly again tomorrow. Double mom pog. I actually do have two mothers in real life. I've got a birth mother and a stepmother.
That was a fun day. I didn't know they had magicians on the shopping street now.
Neither did I.
Oh no, we are so dull. Let's get out more. He didn't do real magic, Mom.
How'd you figure that one out? Wait, I think this game might be a little fruity. No! Impossible!
How'd you figure that one out? Because I know. That's not what real magic looks like.
Oh, Lizzie, dear. There's all kinds of magic in the world. Lizzie gave... Oh, yeah. Cheyenne, this is Mommy. And this is Mom. I didn't read what that said before I clicked. Lizzie gave Mom a suspicious look, but didn't dispute the claim. Looked over at Cove, who hadn't said a word since she started home. He didn't look upset, though, just... I thought I got platonically married to Cove for taxes. That's what the woke left will try to convince you, that they were really close friends in 400 years. He didn't look upset though, just content. You're aware he still hadn't quite warmed up to your parents. Well, we can't just sit here all night. Time to hurry home and get cooking. Who's helping with dinner? Lizzie immediately let out a groan. Summer's almost over. But we weren't even roommates. Oh my god, we weren't roommates. The protest was obvious. You could practically see school on the horizon. You certainly didn't want to spend your last bits of freedom cooking dinner. You could do that any other day. Young me would probably ask for more playtime. We have to keep playing before it's too late. Mom raised an eyebrow, the corner of her mouth lifting before she pursed her lips. You make it sound like it's the end of the world. It practically is. Also, I only had one more bed and I couldn't just let Cove sleep on the floor. And here's where we go ASMR Ryan for the rest of the stream because I was given the noise warning. Sorry, did I miss something? Okay. It practically is. You nodded vigorously, thankful for what that you had your sister on your side. Surely your joint effort will wear your mom down. Please! You will have homework and reading to do. We can't do work now, too. Lizzie made her case and then stomped her foot into the ground. Mimicked her feeling that would add something to the argument. Well...
No.
Oh, come on, Pam. I can help you with dinner. Mommy leaned in for a hug, and you knew that you were very close to victory.
Okay.
Alright. But as soon as dinner's ready, you lot are coming inside, understood? Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom. Cove, dear, you're welcome to join us as well. You sent him a small smile, which he returned. Cove gave a non-committal shrug to your mommy, which you took as an agreement. Not so much to do, so little time. Maybe I could still get the seashell bracelet at times and trinkets. Or maybe the playground. Or the fireflies would probably be coming out, right? Silently make my own plan. Lizzie had her own ideas of what she wanted to do, but what were you going to do? He glanced over to Cove, considering. Strong gusts of wind made you shiver. Lizzie huffed as she wrapped her arms around herself.
Rude.
Doesn't the wind know that summer's not over yet? That's all Lizzie said before abruptly turning on her heel and heading off in the direction your mother's had gone. Where are you going? Going to my room. I have lots to plan if I want to make the most of tomorrow. He thought this over, looking off towards the water again. Hello.
On the thing on the table, so that we can down there.
Lizzie didn't wait, and before long, she was disappearing off down the road. Meanwhile, Cove was going to the opposite direction, headed for the beach. I'm definitely staying at the beach. You kidding me? Cove gave you a smile that you couldn't help but return. Cool. Made a little gesture that you interpreted as follow me, and then started heading to the waves. Cove knelt down, picking up something you quickly identified as a smooth rock. He reached his arm back, then tossed it out into the water. I'm gonna look for my own rock. Deciding to join Cove, you searched nearby for any rocks or shells that you could throw to. Found a shell that would suit your purposes, a smile growing as you tossed it as hard as you could. Landing with a wet-sounding thunk a few feet away and slipped down into the water. When you looked over Cove, he didn't seem to notice that his throw had been more impressive. Cove was looking down at his cast, scratching idly at the pink surface even though you were pretty sure he couldn't feel it. His brows were furrowed and there was a frown on his face.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. I had to wear this cast for ages. I can't even swim. How'd you get it? I was jet skiing. I do. Jet skiing is pretty cool. You immediately regretted saying that out loudly, your face heating up, but it was too late to take it back now. Puff looked a little taken aback by your uppers, but after a second he gave a small nod. He then continued to explain. I crashed. He gestured to his arm as if to say, and this was the result. It's hard to believe you're allowed to jet ski.
Whoa.
Well, I'm not. Oh. Puff let out a huff, plopping down into the sand. I can't believe summer's almost over. I sat down next to him and nodded in agreement, regardless of the sudden topic change. I don't want to go to school. I mean, I would. I don't want to go to a new school. I think it'll be the same as you and... I think it'll be the same school as you and Lizzie. My dad said something about that. Cool. You're going to like it. Everyone's super nice. You'd only ever been... accidentally opened the quick save. You'd only ever been to the one school, but you were sure that his old school couldn't have been that much better. Then again, he did have to make new friends and meet new teachers. It would be kind of scary. Bo shook his head, then wrapped his arm around his knees as he drew it into his chest. You heard a sniffling sound, and when you took a good look at his face, you realized that his eyes were wet.
I want to go home.
I want to go home. You'd never had to move before. But you thought you could understand. If you had to go to a new school all of a sudden with new people, you'd probably be dreading it too. Even though you'd sort of maybe understood, you still weren't sure how to help. Okay. I'll see you later? Cove gave his head a small shake. No. I want to go back home. Right. Cove wanted to go back to his old home. One that sat waiting some place far from here. One he would bring up whenever he felt this sad. It had been a while since he had moved in, but he didn't seem to feel any better about being here. He settled back down to the sand, trying to consider what to do. This can be your home. It's a really nice home if you give it a chance. Cove didn't respond to that. He just tightened his arm around his knees, resting his chin on them.
Ignore the alarm going off. It's just telling me to take my medicine.
You're not going to leave, right? You'll still be around? The question was a little surprising. Of course. I mean, my parents live here. Your parents would have mentioned if you were going to move or something, right? After a second, Cove gave a little nod. Once I get my cast off, we could go swimming. You were fine with him changing the subject again. Okay. You had to say swimming did sound fun, even if it was already getting chilly out. Cove smiled and looked back to the waves. My dad keeps saying I'll get used to everything eventually. That I feel better then. It used to make me angry. I didn't want to get used to everything. He spared a glance over to Cove and saw the anger had slipped from his face in favor of something almost puzzled. But maybe that would be okay after all. As long as I really do feel better. I can't see it. You can remember a long time ago when you first started going to school. You had absolutely not been okay with the idea of being away from your parents for most of the day, to listen to strangers tell you what to do and sit with kids you never met before. Things changing is hard. What was the last thing he said? As long as I really do feel better. I'll make sure you do. Cove laughed, just a little, but you grinned. Proud that you were able to drag one out of him when he was obviously feeling down. Even still, a second later his eyes got a little misty once more. You had the feeling that they were different tears than the ones from before, though. I hope next summer I'll surf and go exploring and everything will feel like it's supposed to again. You gave a little nod, resting your head on your own knees. Two of you sat quietly, just taking in the sound of the waves. You hoped that Cove would be able to accept this place as his new home. You definitely try to help in what ways you could. There were so many wonderful things here Cove probably hadn't even seen yet. Lost in thought, you started a bit when you heard a faint, familiar sound. The sound of your mom shouting your name. Looked over your shoulder, realizing it was probably time for dinner. Time had really gone by fast. You stood and dusted the sand off for yourself. My mom's calling. It's time for dinner. You should come. Cove looked up at you, expression screaming reluctance, yet ultimately, okay. When you smiled, Cove returned with one of his own. Ryan, thanks. It was nice where you were right then. You two couldn't stay there in your own little world any longer. You were being called forward. So the both of you ran off towards your house, leaving the waves and summer behind. In between. Oh. In between? Oh. Guess this is where I change my face for next time. I'll just do this real quick. All this is still the same. Acne. Like, I unfortunately had a lot of acne. So yeah. Earrings. No, I don't have earrings. I don't see a difference in this. Braces? No, I didn't. Do I have any scars? I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I do have scars on, like, my arms and legs, but did I get any of them when I was, like... I assume this is middle school. I did end up getting one on my arm. But I think that's the only one. Right? Relaxed. Amanda sounds excited. Okay, change it until step 3. Fine. Customize Cove. Oh, I can change what he looks like. Probably very... Like, what would he wear? Your feelings for Derek? What the heck is Derek?
Guys.
Hello.
Okay, Ryan, I don't know if we told you about us making homemade cheese. It was just mozzarella.
You did.
We used it on the pizza. Just for note, we used raw milk for the mozzarella. And I don't know if that's what changed it.
All
But,
right.
like, it tastes so much better than the store-bought mozzarella balls. It
Imagine
tastes
that.
so much better.
Yeah, stuff you tend to make yourself subconsciously, it just does taste better.
It
tasted so creamy.
August ended, September began, it was time to go back to school. Lizzie groaned and complained the entire first week. She hated going to classes, still there were interesting things to do that couldn't be done anywhere else. I'm not sure how Cove felt about it. He was enrolled that year. This was like a sign Cove would be staying in Sunset Bird for a while. At school, he was alright, but kept his distance from the other kids, from what you saw anyway. Whenever he could, Cove stuck to you like glue. He didn't even mind that much what you did to pass the time, as long as it was together. Sometimes it was like things weren't exactly the same as when you had first met. But other times as you got older, you couldn't ignore how the feelings had changed in meaningful ways. That year, the divorce of Cove's parents was finalized. You overheard your parents talking about it, saying Cove's dad got full custody. At first, you worried that meant bad news. It had made Mr. Holden cry, apparently. And you found out it meant Cove would keep living with his dad. He would only stay with his mom a few weeks of the year. Cove cried too. For different reasons, you thought. It seemed like Cove and his dad might move again, but Mr. Holden decided to stay after all. Mom asked him about it once. He had said he didn't want to uproot Cove's life a second time. Mr. Holden tried to get Cove to like Sunset Bird more. He kept encouraging his son to go out and see the place. Sometimes Mr. Holden volunteered you to spend time with Cove. He seemed very confident that it was an effective strategy. Cove never talked to anyone about what happened with his parents and withdrew whenever it was brought up. It was hard for him, yet nobody knew how to help. Eventually, Cove stopped crying on his own. You couldn't understand what had changed. Derek is a side character, but because you have his DLC, you can develop feelings for him, I guess. I did download everything you sent to me, JB. Oh, Cheyenne, you'd be freaking perfect. It was like, Cove seems like exactly your type of friend. I'm gonna do that with my eyebrows when I dye my hair. But you hope that you could help him feel better. But you hope that you could help him feel better still, since even without the tears, he looked sad. Maybe one day he could say out loud what he felt inside. After that, it felt like things had gone back to normal, except what was normal didn't stay the same. Years passed, and suddenly you were in middle school. You weren't a kid anymore. You were 13 years old. That officially made you a teen, even if your sister didn't agree. The toys and crayons that used to litter every free space in your room had been packed away somewhere, replaced by new hobbies. There were other changes too. Those cast got taken off. It was weird to see him without it initially. Underneath the pink plaster, there ended up being a long, thin scar that snaked across his forearm. Cove's chest puffed out in pride when someone drew attention to it.
I'm so glad.
Garlic.
He also went through a major growth spurt. He was the tallest student in the class for 2 years in a row. Cove will probably hold that spot again sometime. In class, people knew him for more than just being tall. He stood out because of how well he did in gym and other athletic situations. Over the years, he began opening up more too. You saw him talking amicably with other kids or neighbors from time to time. And the only kid that came to visit the neighborhood when you were little, Shiloh, well, he was gone. He and his mom moved back south because of their work, just 1 year after Cove came to Sunset Bird. It had been really upsetting when he left. Lizzie was inconsolable for weeks. But nobody talked about Shiloh anymore. It was a long time ago. You learned some heartbreaking things become less sad the further away they were, even if they had never gotten any better. That was sad in its own way. Things at home were different too. She lived in the same house and all that, but it wasn't how it was before. Ma dyed her hair purple, while wanting something new, and liked it so much she kept dyeing it. You remember calling her mommy as a kid, but something like that seemed awkward nowadays. You were much too old for the word. This game is so self-aware. Lizzie felt too mature for her nickname too. She insisted on everyone calling her Elizabeth. So you did. Your mom soon gave her permission to go places other than the playground and shopping street, which she took advantage of. You rarely saw her around the old neighborhood. Ma, sorry. In fact, she hardly spent time with you the way she did before. Elizabeth instead associated on more and more with girls from school who were her own age. Maybe the difference between 13 and 15 was greater than the difference between 8 and 10. You started befriending new people yourself, like Derek Suarez. He didn't live in the neighborhood or go to the same school. What happened was his and Cove's dad struck up a business partnership a few months ago. Vince and Derek would pop up in the area now and then. It seemed Mr. Suarez was happy to let Derek tag along with his work if Derek had the time for it. Without a doubt, everyone and everything around you would change in small and big ways. You had too. As time went by, though, it was easy to settle into this new normal. Then, before you knew it, school was over and summer vacation had come again. And that is where we will leave this lovely, lovely gem of a game. This was a big delight to play this. Like I said at the start of this, I don't usually do visual novels, but this was so, like, this was so sweet. This is so, like, genuinely sweet. Alright, now let's see. Who should we say hi to? Ooh. We could go scare an old friend, and by an old friend, I mean a friend. It's wholesome for its own sake. It is. I think we shall raid an old friend.
Why are you pointing at me, TJ? Yes, Jack is over there. He really likes the soft blankets.
Alrighty, we're going to be raiding Sky. Right, I'm gonna quit this game before it gets... Okay, yeah. Quit the game for now. This was nice. JB, thank you for redeeming this game. I'm not usually a fan of visual novels, but this was very nice. Ah, yes, and we will be raiding Attack Wreck. Good friend of mine and yours, and the woman that basically kickstarted my Twitch career. Love to see it. She's having horror night right now, playing horror games over on her stream.
Oh, goody. Horror games are fun.
Horror games are fun. And we shall definitely have... I don't know what she's playing. It looks like she's playing, like a bunch of demo games from... I forget what the collection is called. Tone Shift to the Extreme. Yeah, prepare for a dramatic tone shift. Thank you all for watching. I don't know what my schedule is looking like for next week, but more than likely, somewhere between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, there will be 2 streams, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the first one of which is going to be the next part of Pokemon Leaf Green Gamble Lock. So tune in for that, follow me on Blue Sky to stay up to date. Thank you for watching, I'll catch you on the flip side. Have fun at Sky.